Hokage give me a face, Chapter 281-300. Chapter 281-Aggrieved Kakashi. In the world of Hokage, it is generally more precocious. Just like today, Hatake Kakashi, who is only 6 years old, has become Chunin. It can only be said that he is indeed the genius Kakashi, the son of Hatake Sakumo's rigorous training. Compared with those ordinary ninjas who entered the ninja school at the age of 7 and graduated at the age of 13, Kakashi entered the ninja school at the age of 5, and then he found that he was directly invincible in the ninja school. After only half a semester, he asked to graduate and became a genin. It took another year for him to officially become a chunin at the age of 6, which is today. See Lord Hokage. In Hokage's office, the masked Kakashi looked serious, not like a 6-year-old. Hey, Sakumo, isn't your son a little too serious? It's okay to wear a mask at a young age, and he still looks like an adult, so a little kid should look like a little kid. In addition to Kakashi and Sarutobi, there are Yizan and Hatake Sakumo in the office. At this moment, Yizan is leaning into Hatake Sakumo's ear and whispering, but that voice can happen to be heard by Kakashi and Sarutobi. Hatake Sakumo was speechless, while Sarutobi closed his eyes in despair. He knew that from this second, the office was out of his control. When Sarutobi closed his eyes, Kakashi suddenly looked at Yizan. His eyes were angry, and his voice was full of dissatisfaction. Hey! Who are you? In fact, when Kakashi entered the door, he found Yizan on the sofa. In the year from genin to chunin, he also came to the office to pick up many CD-level tasks. He never understood why this sofa was set up in the office, but no one sat. Kakashi doesn't know Yizan, because Yizan didn't pay attention to their growth, mainly because he was too young and boring. He practiced every day, had sex with Tsunade, had sex with Kushina, bullied Makoto, bullied Konan. Have time to pay attention to these kids. Oh, by the way, Yizan has been cultivating physique for many years, and his body is in a period of explosive growth. From the outside to the inside, his physique and chakra have undergone earth-shaking changes. Finally advanced to the quasi-shadow powerhouse. Because of the peace in the ninja world, Yizan was lazy. Since he was promoted to Zunying, he had no chance to take action, but he felt that his strength was much stronger than before, and he didn't know how much stronger. Yizan Yuzai stood beside Hatake Sakumo. Kakashi stared angrily. Sarutobi and Hatake Sakumo chose to shut up at the same time. They knew that Yizan must have always had a bad personality attack and wanted to bully people. Well, bullying Kakashi is better than bullying yourself, right? After all, it is Konoha's head and face, and it is very embarrassing to be bullied by Yizan. Sarutobi and Hatake Sakumo looked at each other and saw the same emotion in each other's eyes. Sarutobi shrugged, saying, I can't save your son. It doesn't matter. Over the years, I have focused on making Kakashi a talent, but I have neglected his character building. He is too proud. It is a good thing to let him suffer a little loss. Are you sure it's just a small loss? I don't know. Even if I suffer a big loss, there's nothing I can do. The two kept making eye contact, and here, Kakashi continued to glare at Yizan. Little brat, why are you staring at me? Do you think you can kill someone with just a few eyes? Yo oh yo, the eyes have changed, little one, and you're staring at me like this. Can you see my nose? Yizan swaggered in front of Kakashi, raised his head slightly, and covered his nose with his chin. Kakashi is only as tall as Yizan's navel. He can't really see Yizan's nose, but he knows that he can hit the opponent. Little fist made a cracking sound, and Kakashi didn't care whether this was Hokage's office, shouted loudly, and hit Yizan with all his strength. Boom! With a soft sound, Yizan still kept his head up in a pretentious posture, then he scratched his head suspiciously, only to find that Kakashi's fist was printed on his belly. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were hitting me, I thought you just tapped me. I'm sorry, I'll show it right away. Don't worry, my performance is very high. Look. Ah, it hurts. It hurts to death. Yizan covered his belly and yelled. His poor acting made everyone present with black lines, and Kakashi was so angry that his eyes opened to Yuhi. He had never suffered such an insult. The arrogant he finally couldn't help bursting out with all his strength. The splendid thunder and lightning bloomed instantly, and he actually condensed a small thunderbolt in his hand. Kakashi. With a low growl, Kakashi's about to attack steps stopped instantly. I'm sorry, Dad. Seeing Hatakesakumo's slightly angry gaze, Kakashi dissipated Raiden, thunder style, shrugged his head, and then snapped. Hatake Sakumo gave Kakashi a slap in the face. What did I say when I taught you this trick? This is absolutely not allowed against fellow Konoha. Then why did you use it just now? I'm sorry. Kakashi pursed his lips tightly, and his eyes were full of tears. He was always only a 6-year-old child. Although he usually behaved very maturely, when he felt wronged, he still couldn't stop crying. Oops. Sakumo, what are you doing? Kakashi cried, and Yizan gave Hatake Sakumo a reproachful look. He was just joking, but if you did this, it was too much. Sorry, Xiaoshuan, today is because of you, so this trick is nothing, but if one day he and Konoha colleague have a conflict, what should I do with this trick? Once it is used, it is easy to kill people. Yun, Hokage-sama, I'll take Kakashi first. Hatake Sakumo was extremely strict with Kakashi's education. He nodded apologetically to Yizan and Sarutobi, took Kakashi's hand, and slowly left the office. At the last moment of leaving the office, Kakashi finally turned his head and glanced at Yizan, his eyes full of fighting intent, and a hint of pride and unwillingness of a genius. Dad, who is that person? I want to beat him. Chapter 282-Meet Too Lowly. After Hatake Sakumo left with Kakashi, the office finally settled down. Yizan was lying on the sofa, chatting with Sarutobi. I said, dead monkey, you look better now than before, aren't you tired? Well, since the two-tailed Jinchuriki column force was attacked 3 years ago, the Land of Thunder finally stopped its action. After all, we are stronger, and they will suffer even more if we do it. Sarutobi glanced at Yizan with a smile, and then continued to work on the documents. While writing something with his pen, he said, you are also smart, you know that our way is disgraceful. In recent years, your little Uzumaki girlfriend has never I haven't taken the initiative to release the power of the tailed beast, but speaking of it, how did she control it? Fortunately, the proficiency, about 10 times that of Mawako. Ah. Sarutobi was startled, looked up suddenly, and found Yizan's smiling eyes. Cut. Stinky boy, tease me again. Sarutobi pouted and buried his head again. I didn't tease you. Although it's not absolute, Kushina already has half of Erway's power. It's not forcing the master, but Erway voluntarily dedicates her power to Kushina. Xiaozan, although I've been teased by you for so many years, I'm really not a fool. Huh, you don't believe it? Only an idiot would believe it. As soon as Sarutobi finished speaking, suddenly, there was a loud noise, and the door of the office was kicked open. Jiraiya, don't know how to knock on the door and come in. Sarutobi knocked on his pipe in annoyance, which immediately made Jiraiya, who was elated, a little aggrieved. He glanced at Yizan on the sofa, and walked in slowly with his mouth pouting. Mr. Sarutobi, you were never like this before. I always kicked if I wanted to, and the stinky boy isn't. It's changed now. I don't allow you to kick the door. Are you unconvinced? Sarutobi stared angrily, making Jiraiya's neck shrink in fright, even more aggrieved. I serve. Stinky brats have privileges. I know. Jiraiya thought a lot, and looked at Yizan with resentful eyes, but at this time, Yizan seemed to think of something, his eyes rolled, and he laughed wickedly. Jiraiya, let me tell you one thing, Kushina became the Jinchuriki column power of the Two Tails 3 years ago. So far, she has half the power of the Master Two Tails, and her master proficiency is 10 times that of Mawako. Wow, that's amazing. Jiraiya's eyes widened with surprise. Yes, what do you think about what I said? What do you think? I think Kushina is really powerful, but she can't use it outside. Urwei has done a disgraceful thing, at least not let Kumogakure village get the handle. Jiraiya held her chin and said seriously, but did not notice Sarutobi's increasingly ugly face. Boom. Ah, Mr. Sarutobi, what are you doing? Jiraiya screamed, covering his head. His forehead was smashed out of a bag by Sarutobi's pipe. What am I doing? You idiot, I'm so embarrassed to ask. Xiaoshuan is teasing you. How could it be possible that Master Urwei has half the power in just 3 years? You are an idiot. An idiot. Sarutobi roared angrily, finally making Jiraiya wake up. He immediately looked at Yizan, and shouted a little angrily, "Stinky boy, you're messing with me again. I didn't fix you. You said that you didn't punish me. Wow, I figured it out, and you treated me as an idiot. Half the power of the second-tailed master of 3 years, you think I'm an idiot. Only an idiot would believe you. But you just now, didn't you believe it? I just didn't pay attention. In other words, now you don't believe it. Of course I don't believe it. Oh." Yizan blinked his eyes wickedly, and said proudly, "I'm sorry, in fact, my Kushina is really half of the power, I didn't lie to you Tilda." Sarutobi. O_O. Jiraiya. Confused face. Leaving the Hokage building, Yizan walked down the street in a relaxed mood. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he found a few familiar people. Hey, Uncle Yuhi, Uncle Zishao, good afternoon. Yizan walked over happily, but Shi Ryong and Mitarashi Zishao were wary. Xiaozan, hello, ha ha ha. Sunset's tone was a little stiff, looking at the sky, forcing a smile to appear on his face. Tenten is so good today, the sun is shining. Dad, it's obviously cloudy today, Hello brother Tilda. Lowly like a porcelain doll stuck his head out from behind the sunset and bowed obediently to Yizan. Fei Yuhi's eyes were pure and flawless, and his long black hair was slightly curled, looking extremely cute. Yo, how are you, little sister? Come here, please have some candy. Yizan took out a candy from Kabuto and handed it to little Loli. Although she didn't know Yizan, since Yizan and her father knew each other, she took the candy obediently and bowed again, thank you brother Tilda. Hey, Yuhi, you have candy. Big brother, I want to. At this moment, another girl came out from behind Mitarashi Zishao. She had brown shoulder-length hair and a little confusion in her big eyes. Judging from her direct request for candy, she was obviously a carefree character. Playful and cute. Anko, stop fooling around. Seeing Anko walking in front of Yizan without hesitation, Mitarashi Zishao became nervous, but Anko was probably born careless and rebellious. Seeing that Zishao wanted to stop her, she sneaked through Zishao's arm, thinking Rush 1.7, slipped under his feet, and threw himself out. In front of Anko was Yizan. Seeing that she was about to fall, Yizan quickly squatted down and hugged Anko in his arms. Little sister, are you not hurt? I'm not hurt. Brother, you are so kind. Just not falling down, Anko laughed happily, she smiled brightly, and there were 2 cute little dimples on her face. Your name is Anko, so cute. And you, Yuhi, you are so cute too. In Zishao's eyes that were about to explode, Yi Xuanyi put Anko down reluctantly, then looked at Yuhi, and rubbed her long black curly hair. Brother, how do you know our names? What about you? What's your name? Me, my name is Shimura Gen, and I'm a nice guy. Chapter 283_ Don't touch that person. The most shameless person in the world is a person who boasts that he is a good person in front of others. For example, at this moment, Yizan smiled brightly and his eyes were very gentle. Yuhi, Anko, brother is a good person. Come on, brother Kabuto still has a lot of candy, please eat it. Yizan took out a bag of candy in Kabuto and handed it to the 2 little girls. The main purpose of Yizan's going out today was to buy candy for Kushina, little slacker, and he went to Hokage's office for a walk, but he didn't expect to encounter two little loli on the way home. Xiaozan, don't be like this, Enko is changing to a new kiba now, it's not suitable for candy. Mitarashi Zishao stopped Yizan in a hurry. With this bad boy's girl-picking skills, he could easily deceive his daughter. Yes, Yuhi is also changing to a new kiba, can't eat candy. Sunset also stopped him, saying that he didn't want his daughter to contact Yizan. The two adults knew that Yizan was a villain, but the innocent little girl didn't. Looking at the expensive high-end chocolate sandwich in front of them, the two little girls swallowed at the same time. The gentle and introverted Yuhi is better, but Enko, who has a 30-year-old personality, directly took Yizan's candy and kissed Yizan's face crisply. Thank you, brother. Enko, what are you doing? Dad. Oh, it's okay, Enko is so cute, come on, brother, and give you a kiss. Tilda. Ignoring Mitarashi Zishao's murderous gaze, Yizan directly held Enko's pretty face and kissed her on the cheek. The little girl didn't understand either, she just laughed happily, cute and lively. Kissing Enko, Yizan turned his eyes to Yuhi again, but Yuhi was not so bold, but looked at the candy in Yizan's hand pitifully, wanting it but not daring to. Uncle Sunset's son. Ah, that, Yuhi, since Xiaoshuan gave it, you can take it, remember to thank you, brother. Being watched by Yizan's threatening gaze, Shiriang was a little insincere. He grabbed Yuhi's back collar slightly, and his face was vigilant to prevent Yizan from kissing his daughter. After taking the candy, there was another chat, and then Shiriang and Mitarashi Zishao left with two little loli on the grounds of something important. They walked quickly, as if there were some hungry wolves behind them, for fear of being caught by Yizan. Shout out. Yuhi, don't come into contact with that person just now. Enko, you too, never contact Shimura-yun in the future. Why? Because he's a bad guy. Too much contact and he'll eat you up. The two kept warning and saying bad things about Yizan. Kurenai Yuhi seemed to believe it, but Enko quietly pouted. The rebellious she not only didn't believe it, but wanted to contact Yizan. She was very curious as to why Yizan was scolded by her father and Uncle Yang exclusion. But, the candy from my big brother is really delicious. Enko pursed her lips happily, her cheeks were stuffed with 3 or 4 pieces, Yuhi only had one in her mouth, and she was holding another ready to plug in her hand. Compared to the carefree Enko, her pupils were full of tangle. My brother is a good person, and he also invited me and Enko to eat candy, but why doesn't my father allow me to contact my brother? The two big men sighed, and the two little loli were happy. Here, Yizan walked home with a happy pace, and happened to meet Makoto, who was about to go out to buy something. Makoto. Brother Zan. Tilda. Seeing Yizan, a touch of tenderness appeared on Makoto's face. She obediently walked up to Yizan, and before she could speak, Yizan hugged her waist. Boo. It was a customary kiss, but Yizan didn't let go of Makoto. He pressed Makoto on the string of the gate, his two foreheads pressed against each other, and the tip of his nose touched lightly. Baby, what are you doing out there? Go out to buy some fruit and milk, and the milk at home is exhausted. Although so many years have passed, every time he is hugged by Yizan, Makoto's face is Yuhi's, and he is completely unable to restrain the shyness in his heart. I drank all the milk again. Tisk. As expected of Makoto, I drink a lot of milk, so it grows big here. Yizan smirked, and moved his paws on Makoto's fierceness, making Makoto's handsome Yuhi's face became more and more dizzy. Zan. Brother Zan, don't be like this. Kushina and Tsunade's sister are playing gobang on the sofa. Speaking, Makoto's lips were blocked by Yizan, and with Yizan's increasingly powerful skills, Makoto only felt his body soften and his body temperature kept rising. Discovered by Tsunade and Kushina, who were sitting around the coffee table. Tsunade shook his head speechlessly, while Kushina curled his lips in annoyance. This stinky hooligan is bullying Makoto again. Looking at this posture, Makoto is also fast, right? Humph. I can't stand the stinky hooligan for a few days, what a bad guy. As if thinking of something, Kushina gave Yuhi a light sip, and decided to stop paying attention to the gate. She looked down at Gobang and found that something was wrong. 5-1. Tsunade dropped a white stone and gathered the 4 that were about to be sealed. At that instant, 857, Kushina suddenly realized, and puffed out his mouth in anger. Tsunade, you are lying. I'm not kidding, which eye did you see? Tsunade blinked with a smile, the same attitude as Yizan. Humph, you are as bad as a stinky hooligan. It's obviously the chess piece I changed when I looked at the gate just now. Seeing is believing. Since you haven't seen it, you can't say I'm rude. Maybe, you've overlooked it yourself. No way, you bastard, I won't play with you anymore. Kushina got up in anger and ran to the gate with a few steps. At this moment, Yizan was still bullying Makoto. When Kushina came over, Makoto finally woke up from the intoxication, shoved the murderer's claws away, and shyly walked away body. Zan, brother Zan, I'll go shopping. Like a frightened little rabbit, Makoto hurriedly fled the scene, leaving Yizan and Kushina staring with big eyes. In the end, Yizan hugged Kushina fiercely and pressed Kushina against the wall. Damn woman, you ruined my good, tenfold compensation. After Yizan finished speaking viciously, he put his head together and blocked Kushina's lips violently. Chapter 284 What about sugar? Where's the sugar? Coffee table in the spacious and gorgeous lounge, Kushina pouted angrily. This. Yizan looked left and right awkwardly, and kept flipping through his kabutos. There were only 4 kabutos on his body, but he flipped it 10 times. Then he scratched his head innocently and cutely, and said honestly, dropped. It's gone. You think I'm an idiot. Kushina was furious, and suddenly rushed over like a little tigress, and threw Yizan on the woolen floor. Stinky bastard, say it. Did you take my candy to seduce the little sister? Operator, oh operator, how? How is it possible? I'm definitely not that kind of person. Yizan was shocked by Kushina's sixth sense, but he killed him and refused to admit it. Looking at Kushina's aggressive eyes, he moved his eyes away with some guilt. Look at me. Don't move your eyes. Oh. Wow, you rascal. Sure enough, I guessed it. I'll bite you to death. Okay, then I'll be a kunzi, you stinky bastard, I'll knock you to death. Bang bang ping ping pong. 20 minutes later, Yizan and Kushina were lying on the carpet panting. Yizan had a few small yuhi seals on his forehead, while Kushina had many kiba seals on his shoulders and murderous part. Tsunade went to the kitchen to help Conan make pastries. There were only Yizan and Kushina in the lounge. Stinky rascal, you actually bit me. Humph, who told you to knock me on the head? Yizan turned over and lay on his side, his right hand crossed Kushina's neck, his left hand hugged her whole body, and his left foot was on Kushina's leg, wrapping Kushina around like an octopus. Hate, let me go. Don't let it go, I want to kiss. Yizan buried his head on Kushina's shoulder and kept arching it, his left hand swayed on Kushina's back, and the hand-woven high-grade wool carpet was thick, soft and clean, covering any part of the house, allowing Yizan to be anywhere arms the girls fooling around. Kushina couldn't beat Yizan, and quickly surrendered, and the two kissed on the carpet until Tsunade and Conan came out with some cakes and were still kissing. Okay, you two, don't be ashamed. Tsunade was helpless, and when he saw the two people lying on the ground, he directly stepped on Yizan's ass stock with his clean feet. By Tsunade, Yizan finally stopped kissing, he let go of Kushina, flipped hard, and knocked Tsunade's feet off. Boo! Oops! Tsunade snorted softly, a yuhi halo appeared on her beautiful cheeks, and Yizan kissed her delicate and clean feet with yuhi-colored nail polish. What are you doing? Scent. Sweet ass. It's really fragrant. It feels like Yuhi's roasted pigs trotters tilde. Bah. Tsunade rolled his eyes at Yizan, placed the delicately crafted sweet crystal pastry on the Yuhi wooden square coffee table, picked up the kettle, and poured 3 cups of tea with scalding hot water. After a while, blue smoke lingered, exuding a faint tea fragrance. Little pervert, since you've been getting more and more unruly recently, you are forbidden to drink afternoon tea today. What? Idiot Tsunade. Why am I so bad? Why are you not good? You took the candy you bought for Kushina and used it to seduce the little sister, saying that my feet are Yuhi's roast pork trotters, and what did you do for your birthday yesterday? Ah, you and Conan are practicing on the 3rd floor. What did the room do? Yizan's eyes widened in shock. Conan's hand shook and almost knocked down the teacup. Conan, why are you shaking your hands? Are you guilty? Humph. How can you hide your little tricks from the eyes of me and Kushina? Tsunade put his arms around his arms, raised his head proudly, and looked particularly like a detective girl arrogant. Sister Tsunade, Sister Kushina, it's not what you think. My teacher and I are innocent. Okay Conan, don't explain any more, drink tea obediently, and Tsunade and I don't blame you. Kushina rubbed Conan's cheek lightly, and her carefree appearance finally reassured Conan. Stinky rascal, I can warn you, Conan is still young, don't take his innocence. Huh, smelly woman, you weren't Conan's age when I was. You are strong. But I remember clearly, that night, you. Shut up, Tsunade's sister, Conan, the stinker is getting worse and worse. Let's beat him together. Agree. I agree with. Hey, Tsunade, Conan, you can't do this. Bang bang ping ping pong. The joyful life just keeps passing in the lively days. Week later, there were many people standing in Hokage's office. Yizan's face was serious, and he rarely became serious. Is the news accurate? Cheyenne Village released news directly to the Quan Ninja world. Are you accurate? Sarutobi tapped his pipe lightly and knocked out the ash from the pipe. The too violent news made him frown tightly, thinking about it. I lit another leaf cigarette, but I lost my interest in smoking. Are they crazy? They don't do more research on such an important thing. Just announce it directly to the whole ninja world. What should come will always come. Yizan didn't speak, just frowned tightly, thinking about something in his mind. He didn't speak, and everyone mistakenly thought he couldn't accept this fact. But no matter what, the reason for everyone to be anxious together is to solve the problem. When they found that everyone was silent, Danzo took the initiative to stand up and said in a condensed voice, the 3rd generation of Kage has disappeared. It was caused by the Irway incident. In order to put pressure on us, Kumogakure village recklessly kidnapped Kyubi, Nine-Tails Jinchuriki column force and failed, and we Konoha retaliated and killed Niue people Jinchuriki column force. Going out, although there is no evidence, the whole ninja world guessed that we did it. That is to say, we have taken the blame. We have a criminal record. As soon as Kage disappeared, Cheyenne village subconsciously thought that we had killed 3 generations of Kage, and the disappearance of 3 generations of Kage had something to do with us. Even if it really had nothing to do with it, other countries would use this news to attack Konoha and destroy Konoha's reputation. Quote. Maybe I will use this opportunity to provoke the 3rd Ninja War. Chapter 285-War. Too fast. As if everything was ready, when Cheyenne village announced to the whole ninja world that after Konoha killed the 3 generations of Kage, Uzumaki Ryushin dragged his severely injured body and came to Konoha with several elite jonin and his youngest son. The country of the Vortex is destroyed. In just a few days, the kingdom of Vortex was destroyed by a group of powerful ninjas. Uzumaki Ryayama and a group of elites tried their best to escape, and finally arrived at the gate of Konoha with a seriously injured body. All of them are ninjutsu masters who use Raiden Thunder style. I remember him in the lead. Yayui. It's Yayui who kidnapped my son 7 years ago. He's too strong. I'm not him at all opponent. With Tsunade around, Uzumaki will not die, and the body can heal, but the trauma of the soul makes Uzumaki Ryushin disheartened. The country of the vortex is over, and the country of the vortex perished in my hands. How can I be worthy of my ancestors? Why, the country of the vortex just perished in my hands. Uzumaki Yanayama was crying, and in the Hokage office, everyone was watching, crying. Father. Mawako wanted to comfort her, but she didn't know what to say. She pursed her lips and looked at Kushina. Kushina shook her head slightly, knowing that at such a time, nothing would help. The two girls are in a better mood. After all, they have come to live in Konoha since they were young. They completely regard Konoha as their home. Although they are sad about the demise of the country of Vortex, they do not cry. In their impression, the kingdom of Vortex is already very far away. Of memory. Mawako, Kushina, help your father to rest. Yizan sighed softly and motioned the two women to take Uzumaki Ryushin out of the office. As Uzumaki Ryushin left, the atmosphere in the office finally became solemn. Come prepared. Come prepared. Those things from the Kingdom of Thunder. It turned out to be a plan. 3 generations of Reikage have never been the one to admit defeat. If we get rid of our way, they will get rid of our Vortex Country Alliance and reduce our overall strength. Looks like they're here for real this time. Yeah, the Kingdom of Wind and the Kingdom of Thunder are ready to attack Konoha, but I don't know where the Kingdom of Water and the Kingdom of Earth are. Report. At this moment, an Anbu suddenly appeared in the middle of the office. He took out a scroll from his arms and placed it on Hokage's desk respectfully. Lord Hokage, this is the highest emergency communication. Superlative. Sarutobi thought one thing, and immediately opened the scroll. After a few seconds, his arms trembled and his face was ashen. He raised his head and took a few deep breaths, barely suppressing his inner emotions. Urgent information, the country of water declares war on Konoha. What? How is it possible? Nothing is impossible. When Xiaoshuan collapsed the country of water, he killed Ghost Lantern Wanyu in the country of thunder, and lost thousands of ninjas. They have always held a grudge. But, wouldn't it take 10 years for the country of water to regain its strength? It's the country of thunder. The country of water is close to the country of fire and the country of thunder. Apart from the country of thunder, I can't think of any other possibilities. There were 2 great wisdom advisors, Sarutobi Danzo and Yizan, in the chattering discussion, and they quickly sorted out all the ideas. Tsunade Orochimaru and Jiraiya stood on the side stupidly. For this kind of super speed thinking analysis, Orochimaru is better. Tsunade and Jiraiya could only stare, unable to keep up with the rhythm. The Kingdom of Thunder has been unconvinced since its defeat in World War II. The strength of the 3 generations of Reikage has definitely become stronger after years of practice. And Yayoi, since it can easily defeat Uzumaki Ryushin, at least it has the strength of Zunying, and Killer Bee Jinchuriki column power. This is not comparable to 2 Tails and 3 Tails. Unless QB 9 Tails is released, no one can beat Killer Bee Jinchuriki column power. Quote. It depends, but I guess, since the Kingdom of Thunder dares to destroy the Kingdom of Vortex so arrogantly, Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force must be a ruthless character, maybe. Can control it completely. Impossible. How can the tail beast be completely controlled? And the new generation of Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force is only a teenager now. Absolutely impossible. As long as there is no absolute, at least, Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force can go to the battlefield, otherwise the Kingdom of Thunder would not dare to be so arrogant. The strength of the Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force is unknown. It is temporarily suspended. Is there anything else to add? Land of the Earth. Everyone said in unison, and sure enough, in the hearts of everyone, the land of the land is a very pressured opponent. Call Onoki immediately and explain to him that Konoha definitely did not kill Kazekage. Will he listen? Whether you listen or not, at least stop them. Report. Suddenly, another Anbu appeared in the office. He quickly handed over the scroll, bowed and left. What is it? Yes. Damn. Boom. The office mate of Nanmu shattered, Sarutobi squeezed his fist with anger, and the information scroll fell to the ground. Sarutobi, don't get angry, it's like this now, you must stabilize your emotions. Danzo sternly reprimanded Sarutobi, finally calming Sarutobi's emotions. He nodded apologetically to the crowd, and said slowly, sorry, I was impulsive, maybe you have already guessed the content on the scroll. Indeed, Soil no country has declared war on us under the pretext of getting justice for Kage. Too fast. Everything is so fast. Was so fast that Konoha couldn't react at all, as if everything had been planned for a long time. Once it broke out, it would be destroyed, as if it could destroy Konoha in an instant. 3 generations of Reikage are ambitious, and the diehard Onoki can't be peaceful. The Kingdom of Water is bent on revenge, and the Kingdom of Wind blames Kage's death on us. It's really bad luck. Kaharu, it's not bad luck, everything is doomed. After so many years, all countries have cultivated their vitality. As long as there is greed in human beings, the war will never stop. The war is inevitable, for Konoha, for the homeland. Fight. Battle. 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 Very good. Immediately notify all Konoha clan chiefs, and immediately recall all ninjas who are out on missions. Starting today, Konoha will enter the first level preparation state. Abandon all missions. Return to preparations. Chapter 286 _ Mutiny of VIPs. War is a very complicated thing. Food and grass, ninja tools, supplies, intelligence, and famous teachers, at least arouse the fighting spirit of the ninjas. Although war has been declared, the 4 countries have not formed an alliance. In order to cooperate better, the 4 countries' intelligence ninjas are constantly running. How to form an alliance and how to divide the interests will take at least 1 or 2 months. At the Konoha Anbu base, Hitaki Sakumo is processing documents in the minister's office. A large number of Anbu's are out to bring back news, and all kinds of news are piled up like a mountain. Report to the minister. Emergency. Speak. The night before yesterday, the whole family of the Minister of Intelligence was killed, and the blood and the smell of corpses were not discovered by the nearby residents until today. We went in to investigate and found that the minister had disappeared, but according to the news from the Konoha guard the night before, the Minister of Intelligence passed through the secret door. Leaving Konoha, the word to the doorman is a top-secret mission. Quote. What? Hitaki Sakumo suddenly raised his head, and the terrifying cage-level chakra burst out, pressing Anbu in front of him to make his feet weak and sweat profusely. The whole family of the Minister of Intelligence was killed and he left Konoha when he himself. Not good. As if he understood something, Hitaki Sakumo turned into a thunderbolt and rushed out of the office and into the square. Hyuga Soji. In. Swish. Hyuga Zongji came to Hitaki Sakumo in an instant, and his strength was still around the top elite Jonin. Even so, he was at the top level in Anbu. The Minister of Intelligence has defected. Follow me. He has been gone for 2 days, follow me. It was too late to call someone, and it was too late to say anything. He had no idea that the head of Konoha's intelligence department was actually a spy from another village. In the end, what country would actually hide a spy in such a state? The Minister of Intelligence Yamada Seichi Master Konoha has a lot of information. Not only that, but he also has a list of our Konoha's spies lurking in the 4 major countries. We must catch up with him and take back the list. Otherwise, the spies of the 4 major countries will be all over. In order to pursue, Hitaki Sakumo can only bring Hyuga Zongji, a top Jonin master. Although the rest of Anbu also have elites, in terms of speed and chakra volume, they are much worse than Hyuga Zongji. Bringing them on the road will reduce the team's performance. Speed. Hitaki Sakumo is good at tracking. Hyuga Soji's Byakugan can see the situation 10 kilometers away, and in order to escape quickly, the Minister of Intelligence Yamada Aoi did not sweep away the traces of escape at all. If the traces are swept away with every step, his speed will drop by a few 10 times. It is better to run away directly, anyway, someone will pick him up. The sudden situation disrupted all Konoha's deployments, and the 4 top executives were extremely shocked. Fortunately, Hitaki Tsukumo had already led the pursuit, and they could only rely on Hitaki Tsukumo to get the list back. Tsukumo is running too fast. Don't you know how to call me? On the list are all the spies that Konoha has hidden in Shikoku. Not only that, but Seiichi Yamada has also mastered a lot of military intelligence and information about our Konoha. The situation is urgent, and Tsukumo is all about chasing. How could he come back from the base to find you? Sarutobi glared at Yuzan. This stinky boy is inexperienced, Anbu's tracking skills are weak, and now even if he wants to chase Hitaki Tsukumo and Hyuga Soji, it's too late. Don't worry Xiaoshuan, with the strength of Tsukumo and Soji, Yamada Seiichi should not be able to escape. As soon as Yamada Ching dared to run, he naturally thought of these situations. I hope so. Yuzan sighed softly and could only put this matter aside temporarily. The location of everyone was not in the Hokage office, but in the hidden room of the Hokage building. It will take at least 1 to 2 months for the 4 countries to assemble their armies and alliances. I have a little suggestion. I don't know if you want to hear it or not. Danzo's voice was light, but there was a hint of malice in his tone. Made Sarutobi frown. Danzo, the third ninja war is about to start. Uchiha can't be touched at this time. No, Sarutobi, now is the time to move Uchiha. Although the 4 kingdoms are powerful, don't forget, we are stronger. We have Kyubi, Ninetales, or Wei, Hitaki Tsukumo, me, and Xiaozan with you, Tsunade Jiraiya Orochimaru, Sunset Sun, Hyuga Soji, Moonlight Yekas, Mitarashi Zishao and many others. Even if we face the Shikoku attack this time, we will not necessarily lose. It's not necessarily going to be a loss, it's going to be tough. What do you want? In the past few years, I have successfully turned against several Uchiha elites. I still remember when Xiaoshuan took Uchiha Makoto to leave, the elites who first spoke against Uchiha Fugaku have completely turned against us. Oh, Sarutobi was surprised. He didn't expect Danzo to do so many tricks in secret. However, that's not enough. I don't know enough, but I have an idea to target Uchiha. What thoughts? I suggest that once the Country of Water is attacked, the entire front of the Country of Water is divided among the Uchiha and Hyuga clan, and we only send some ordinary Jonin and Chunin to replenish the number of people, and let Uchiha and Hyuga fight the Country of Water together. Danzo's words silenced everyone. Sarutobi and the 2 advisors did not refute or agree, but frowned and kept thinking. Since World War II, the strength of the Uchiha clan has been continuously enhanced. If it is not curbed, the strength of Uchiha will definitely increase several times after the Third War. By then, the Uchiha clan will become 3 Tomo, and 2 Tomo will be as many as dogs. Situation. Going with the Hyuga clan, I can understand, to stimulate their contradictions and reduce their combat effectiveness, but why should Uchiha go to the land of water? Because water overcomes fire. Most of the Uchiha clan are Kaiden, fire-style ninjas. Everyone was shocked, and they were all shocked by Danzo's words. They didn't expect that Danzo had analyzed the matter to such a degree. That is to say, Danzo was determined to rectify Uchiha and let Uchiha fight in this war. A big loss. The Uchiha family is getting stronger and stronger. The leader Uchiha Ida and the next leader Uchiha Fugaku are very ambitious. It's not a good thing for Konoha. I support Dad. I support Xiaozan and Danzo. Second. Hey, you guys. Chapter 287 Inoichi said he was chasing girls. The Land of Wind provoked the Third Ninja War. In order to have enough soldiers, Konoha changed the ninja school system ahead of schedule, graduating from the previous 6 years to 3 years, and the school hours were more evenings and Saturdays, reducing the time for theoretical classes and almost tripling the number of practical classes. The ninjas who were out on the mission came back one after another, and Sarutobi's eldest son, Shinosuke, had trouble with Sarutobi again, and directly abandoned the 3 students, and returned to the Land of Fire to continue to serve as the guardian of the 12. The Ninja World War. Konoha's economy is gradually depressed, fewer and fewer people are happily shopping on the street, and even the restaurants in the commercial street are closed a lot. Cheers. No matter how depressed it is, there are still many people in Konoha's famous restaurant. In the old-fashioned barbecue restaurant, Yizan clinks glasses with everyone and suffocates the sake with one sip. The war is about to start, and we may not have much time for dinner in the future. Shikaku, Choza, Inoichi, Xiaopa, Du and I. After the war is over, I don't want to see your names on the memorial tablet. Brother Zan, what about me? You. If you die, I will definitely laugh at you in front of the memorial monument. It's not fair. Namikaze Minato protested, but Yizan gave him a disdainful glance. If even the technique of Hiraishin died on the battlefield, then Namikaze Minato would be really stupid. Okay, Minato, don't be sad, Big Brother Zan believes in your strength. Come and eat meat. Mawako picked up a piece of roasted meat and put it in the Minato bowl. Although she wasn't pretty, she had a virtuous personality. Make Inoichi envious. Inoichi, what are you envious of? Find one for yourself. Brother Zan, don't look at Inoichi's sullen appearance, he actually already has a goal. Oh, got a goal, did you get it? It's hard. His target this time is a younger sister of his own clan, 16 years old, very beautiful, but unfortunately he doesn't have much feelings for Inoichi. Shikaku, speak clearly, what do you mean by, not much, feeling? No feeling, or a little feeling? Feel a little bit. I don't know, you ask Inoichi yourself. Shikaku yawned lazily, picked up a piece of grilled meat and put it in the choza bowl. Thank you Shikaku. No thanks. I think you guys can fuck up. Big Brother Zan. Okay, when I didn't say it. Yizan scratched his head, found the slightly angry eyes of Choza and Shikaku, and decisively turned his head to look at Inoichi. Tell me, what kind of clan girl does you have a feeling for you? Still don't feel it? I don't know. Yamanaka Inoichi tilted his head slightly, not daring to look directly at Yizan's inquiring eyes. A dizziness appeared on his face very rarely. Obviously he was a little shy when talking about the girl he liked. She called Yamanaka Huali, the daughter of the uncle from the Yuanfang family, is very beautiful, and I like her character very much. Some time ago, I made an excuse to ask her to do me a favor, and then invited her to dinner, but what? Yizan immediately asked. It was not an easy task for Yamanaka Inoichi's rare love history. But later, when I asked her out for dinner alone, she insisted on the system, just wouldn't let me invite her to eat. Ino Shikacho and Inazuka Claw, who have zero emotional experience, do not understand this situation, including Minato, Mawako, Makoto, Konan, do not understand. Konan and Makoto obediently grilled meat for Yizan, but Kushina took the lead and snatched Yizan's words. Idiot, is this not clear? Inoichi, you have to remember that if a girl is willing to go out on a date with you, it means she has feelings for you. You also said that she is a very beautiful girl, and the person who chases her, you are definitely not the only one. If you don't like it, she will never waste time dating. As for the issue of the system, it can only show that she is a stubborn type and doesn't want to take advantage of you. It doesn't mean that she doesn't like it. Kushina was boastful and eloquent. Everyone was shocked by her performance, until Yizan suddenly raised his hand and slapped it fiercely. She let out a soft cry, and covered her ass stock with a face yuhi. Stinky rascal, what are you doing? Don't do anything, you sit down with me. Talking idiot. You call me an idiot. It was stupid. Yizan pulled Kushina to the position mercilessly, grabbed Kushina's hand, and kissed him on the mouth. Humph. Being kissed gently by Yizan, Kushina's dissatisfaction disappeared instantly. She snorted softly, and leaned on Yizan's shoulder obediently, her face full of happiness. Inoichi, just now Kushina was right and wrong. That girl does have feelings for you, but the OS system is not stubborn, but it doesn't recognize you. That is to say, the people who are chasing her at the same time, except you, there are other excellent ones, so she chooses the OS system. Even if she rejects you in the end, she doesn't take advantage of you. From a personality point of view, it's not bad. Yizan's analysis is straightforward, and he is much more reliable than Kushina. After listening to Inoichi, a trace of anxiety finally appeared in his heart. Brother Zan, what should I do? 2 ways. In what way? First, you have become better than other suitors. I can tailor this for you and teach you step by step. As Konoha's goddess of picking up girls, Boom. Ah, you stinky woman hit me again. Humph, the goddess of picking up girls is so cool. Makoto, Conan, what do you think? I don't know. Makoto pursed his lips, a little aggrieved. Teacher, you are too much. The god of picking up girls. Conan also pouted, his eyes full of resentment. Stinky hooligan apologize. I'm sorry Kushina wife, I'm sorry Makoto wife, I'm sorry Conan wife, it's all my husband's fault. 2.3, my husband apologizes to you. Disgusting, take advantage of us at this time. Who is your wife? Beat you up. Kushina waved her fist viciously, but when she heard Yizan calling her wife, she was just angry on purpose. Her heart was already blooming with joy. Her vicious expression only lasted for a few seconds, and she happily hugged Yizan's arm, and kissed Yizan on the cheek by the way. Hey, really? Yizan shook his head. Kushina's carefree and crazy personality always made him speechless. Okay Inoichi, the first method is a joke, let me tell you the second method. The second method is to find all the suitors who are pursuing that girl, and beat them one by one. If you don't agree, just keep going. Punch him out. Chapter 288-Chase into the Land of the Land. In the forest of the Land of Fire, 2 silhouettes are flashing rapidly at a speed invisible to the naked eye. Every time they pass a place, the surrounding branches are constantly swaying by the strong wind. Zangji, take a look. Byakugan, open. Hyuga Zangji's eyes were hideous, and he looked forward with a solemn face. After a while, he retracted Byakugan and shook his head at Hatake Sakumo. Sorry, there is no sign of Yamada Aochi 10 kilometers ahead. Isn't there anyone yet? If you keep chasing like this, you will enter the country of grass. Hatake Sakumo frowned slightly, and Yamada Seichi, an elite Jonin, became the head of the Konoha Intelligence Department because of his brilliant mind and ability to handle affairs. Such an important position, of course, has undergone various investigations, but Yamada Ching has a clean life and was born in an ordinary family in Konoha. He still can't figure out why this happened. Sakumo, do you want to chase? Chase. He has information on all the spies lurking in the 4 major countries by Konoha, and he has mastered a lot of secret information. He must chase. If he catches it, kill him. Otherwise, we Konoha will suffer unimaginable losses. Now the Ninja World War is about to start. If there are no spies provide information, we are 30 blind men surrounded by 4 major countries. Hatake Sakumo's words also made Hyuga Soji understand the seriousness of the matter. The two looked at each other and burst out all their strength at the same time, chasing forward frantically. After half a day, the two crossed the Canopy Bridge. Half a day, the two came to the border of the Land of Fire. Half a day, the two crossed the Land of Grass and entered the Land of Earth. And after another day, the two had penetrated into the Land of Land a short distance. Zangji, look again. Byakugan, open. Hyuga Zangji opened Byakugan, and after a while, his face changed greatly, and he quickly retracted Byakugan. How is it? I see. 9 kilometers away, Yamada Seichi, 9 kilometers away. Chase. Wait. Hyuga Zangji suddenly stopped Sakumo. He frowned tightly, and his tone was very dignified. Not only Yamada Aochi, but also dozens of Jonins from the Land of the Land. Among them, there are 2 more elite Jonins. The strong man. Although I don't know each other, the chakra in one of them is chaotic and violent, and it is the power of Jinchuriki column. People Jinchuriki column force. Hearing Hyuga Soji's words, Hatake Tsukumo finally hesitated. It seems that this time, the land of the land has made a lot of money and sent dozens of elite jonin, a quasi-cage and a person Jinchuriki column to take Yamada-Ching back. But thinking of the lives of so many spies lurking in the Four Kingdoms and the crisis of Konoha, Hatake Tsukumo Kiba took a bite and rushed out. Zongzi, you go back, I'll chase it alone. Wait, Tsukumo. Hyuga Soji raised his hand, but couldn't hold it back. Looking at Hatake Tsukumo's back, he shook his head, chuckled lightly, raised chakra, and quickly chased towards Hatake Tsukumo. Tsukumo, you've all gone, how could I not? 10 years of brotherhood, how can I bear you to take risks alone? The 6-kilometer distance is not too far, but with the time the opponent was still fleeing, Hatake Tsukumo and Hyuga Soji chased for a full 10 kilometers, and finally caught the enemy. Yamada Seichi. The icy voice spread out for 100 meters, and a flash of thunder flashed. Hatake Tsukumo instantly appeared on a rock not far away. His face was icy cold, and his eyes were extremely angry. Traitor. Ha! Hyuga Soji also came to Tsukumo, facing dozens of ninjas of the same level and 2 more powerful masters. His face was extremely solemn, and he quickly assumed a defensive stance. The arrival of Hatake Tsukumo and Soji surprised the ninja of the land of the land. The leader waved his hand to stop the team's progress, waited left and right, and then scratched his head in confusion. Just 2. With you bastards, 2 people are enough. Hatake Tsukumo said in a cold voice, making Zongzi a little speechless. He actually wanted to say that the 2 of us are really not enough, but seeing Tsukumo's increasingly cold aura, he could only shrink his neck, not daring to complain about himself at this time. Mr. Minister. Yamada Aochi didn't speak. He was a slightly thin man with messy hair, about 30 years old, a little tall, wearing glasses, not wearing a ninja suit, but a white lab coat, looking gentle like a researcher. This is Yamada Seichi's disguise, because the position of the Minister of Intelligence is extremely important and needs to be kept absolutely secret. In his outfit, no one knows that he masters all the information on Konoha, even Yizan. When Yamada Seichi defected, I just found out that Konoha has this person. The distance between the 2 teams was not too far, so they looked at each other like this. The person headed by the land of the land was an extremely tall man with a simple and honest face, and his arms were a little fat, but the inner muscles definitely exploded. A strong threat to people. Another person, who has a terrible chakra amount, is a young man with a beard in purple clothes with his hair tied back like a ponytail. The person Hyuga Zongji said is Jinchuriki column force, that is him. Jinchuriki column force. 4 tails or 5 tails. And you, are you? My name is Lois. The tall and strong man had a simple and honest face. He recognized that 913 was really looking at Hatake Tsukumo, and his tone was very sincere. Konoha White Fang, please leave, with me, Lao Zi, and dozens of elite masters here, you can't take back the information. The tone of the fight here is both hurt. Why don't you give up the pursuit? If you die, you Konoha. You can't face the siege of our 4 major countries. Humph. Give up. I, Konoha White Fang, never say give up or admit defeat when I do things. Just you dozens of rubbish, still want to fight with me and lose both sides. Zongzi, come on. Preemptive strike. Hatake Tsukumo pulled out the short knife on his back, and instantly turned into a thunderbolt to kill Lois. Hatake Tsukumo's speed is extremely fast, and with the bright white light, the thin dagger emits a light that symbolizes death. Hatake flow. Instant slash. Yoden, lava style. Granite. Quote. Boom. With a loud bang, the lava rock shattered, and Laozi on the side blocked Hatake Tsukumo's attack with a Yoden, lava style. Lois quickly turned sideways to avoid the short knife attack. At the same time, the quasi-cage level chakra burst out with all his strength. Facing a strong man like Hatake Tsukumo, he directly used his strongest trick. Doden, earth style. The art of mountain earth. Chapter 289 _ Old Friend. 2 tens of meters high mountains appeared at the same time, one on the left and one on the right, and in half a second, Hatake Sakumo could become Mi-chan. Zzz. The thunder made an ear-piercing sharpness. Hatake Sakumo shouted violently, and the short sword in his hand once again burst into a dazzling white light, like a river pouring down, containing infinite power. Hatake flow. Cut off the water. Whoa! The rocky and earthy mountain tens of meters high was split in half. Hatake Sakumo escaped the attack of the other mountain unscathed. His breath was steady, and this attack did not affect him in any way. It's so strong. As expected of Konoha White Fang. Old Z and I attacked together, didn't we even catch our breath? Lois looked solemn, then looked at the dozens of elite jonin around him. Brothers, let's go together. Kill Konoha White Fang. Quote. Shish. Dozens of elite jonin teamed up with Lois and the four-tailed Jinchuriki, column force lousy, instantly pushing Hatake Sakumo back and evading attacks. Hatake Sakumo is a powerhouse of assassination. No matter how strong he is, he can't face the enemy as hard as the third-generation Hokage. Facing so many powerhouses, he can only choose to retreat, and in the future, speed and guerrilla warfare will kill the opponent's number. But 8 trigrams break the mountain. Quote. Boom. A ninja from the land vomited blood and flew out, and at the moment when Hyuga Zongji came to an end, 5 elites rushed in at the same time. Doden, Earth Style. The Art of the Iron Cannon. Doden, Earth Style. Swamp of the Underworld. Doden, Earth Style. Toon Gun. Quote. Revolving Heaven. Boom. The blue semicircle collided with the 5 chakras, and a violent vibration broke out. Hatake Sakumo saw it in his eyes and wanted to rescue him, but he could only dodge dozens of ninjutsu attacks in embarrassment, and occasionally glanced at Hyuga Zongji. His eyes were full worry. Zongji, hold on. He bit Kiba tightly, scolding Zongzi for following, but he also knew that Zongzi would not let himself pursue alone. He suddenly raised his short knife and slashed to the right with force, and in an instant, a head flew high. Hatake Sakumo and Hyuga Soji fought fiercely in the land of the land. On the commercial street of Konoha, Yizan met an old friend whom he hadn't seen for a long time. Hey, stop the war. Yizan raised his hand, the other party turned his head to look at him, a smile appeared on his face. Hi, Xiaozan, long time no see. Yeah, I haven't seen you for a long time. If you think about it seriously, it's at least 8 years, right? Uchiha Nomi War, one of Yizan's comrades when he entered Anbu at the age of 7, because Yizan has been working in Anbu, he is busy with work, and was responsible for guarding Konoha during the Second Ninja World War, which also caused him not to participate in the large-scale battles on the 3 fronts. War. With the end of the war, Yizan never went to Anbu again, and the two never met. Xiaozan, good boy. You have finally grown up. Uchiha Nomi-zan patted Yizan on the shoulder. Compared with the teenagers, Uchiha Nomi-zan is already 27 years old. He has a mustache and has a mature and vicissitudes of life. Hey, I've grown up, and you've matured too. Where's your Uchiha arrogance? You kept squinting at me back then, but now you're not arrogant. Yizan smiled, feeling very close to this comrade in arms he hadn't seen for many years. You kid, are you still making fun of me with what happened back then? Let me tell you, in the pure physique contest, I let you down because of your young age, or I'll beat you into a pig's head with a few punches. Yo, how many punches will you beat me? Come on, why don't you find a place to make a gesture? I'd like to see how your strength has grown after so many years. Yizan rubbed his fists, but Uchiha Nomi shook his head with a smile. He pointed to the ninja shop in front of him, and after a while, a little boy walked out of the ninja shop. Have you bought it? Well, I bought it, I bought some more, and it cost a lot of money tilde. The little boy dressed in Uchiha's unique costume obediently walked to Yizan's side. He looked up at Yizan with doubts in his eyes. Dad, who is this brother? My good friend and comrade in arms, Shimura-gen. Shimura. Well, it's the Shimura house that the clansman said. Uchiha Nomi rubbed his son's head lightly, and looked at Yizan a little apologetically. Over the years, the father and son Uchiha Ida and Uchiha Fugaku have been promoting the conflict between Uchiha and Shimura's family, and most people in the family think that the Shimura family is not what a good thing. There are even a small number of people who hate Shimura's family. Fortunately, although the two hadn't seen each other for 8 years, it was Anbu's and Sarutobi's who stopped the war after all. He taught his son not to listen to the clan's declaration since he was a child, so that his son has the ability to think alone, and his son is also obedient. He has never been hostile to Shimura with his clan, so when we met for the first time today, he was not hostile to Yizan, just a little curious. This Shimura home, why is it so hostile to the clan? Yizan didn't know all of this. Looking at the little boy about 6 years old in front of him, he smiled, raised his hand and flicked the forehead guard on the child's forehead. Graduated. How old are you? 6 years old. Yo tilde not bad. Genius. Even worse than Kakashi. Haha, I don't dare to compare with the minister. Kakashi was taught by the minister with great effort. He graduated at the age of 5 and was promoted to Chunin at the age of 6. My son, who only applied for graduation a few days ago, is completely inferior to Kakashi. Uchiha Nomi smiled heroically. After years of growth, he has lost the arrogance and naivety he used to be when he matured, and maybe he has a lot of responsibilities in his heart after becoming a father. But seriously, you didn't notify me when you got married. Hey, Xiaoshuan, that's not the case. Although I married my wife, we didn't have a wedding banquet. It was still during the Second Ninja World War. Not long after we got married, the war ended. I wanted to do it again, but we discussed it and felt that there was no need to make a big deal, so. Cut. Forget it. Forgive you once. Yizan patted Jizan's shoulder carelessly, then turned his eyes to the child again. Your son is okay, his future achievements are not under you. What is his name? Shisui, Uchiha Shisui. Chapter 290-Break the Stone. Dead monkey, you never told me that Uchiha Nomi is a descendant of Uchiha Kagami. In Hokage's office, Yizan patted the table unhappily, which surprised Sarutobi. Xiaozan, what's the matter? Uchiha Nomi is indeed a descendant of the mirror, isn't it normal? Otherwise, why did you join Anbu in the sense of Shujin? Some old things. Sarutobi didn't put this matter in his head at all. When Jirjan joined Anbu, it was a kind of protection for Jirjan. After all, Uchiha Kagami was a pro-Konoha faction. After Jing died, only Chunin's strength was strong. It is difficult for Jirjan to gain a foothold in Uchiha, and giving him an Anbu status is also a shock to the family, and he is not allowed to take action on Jirjan. Anbu represents Hokage. If Uchiha attacks or even kills Anbu, it means that Uchiha officially rebels. Uchiha Ida understands the implied meaning, so although Uchiha Nomi lives in the Uchiha family, the two sides are at peace. Sarutobi didn't understand why Yizan was so excited, because he didn't know the future, but Yizan knew. Uchiha Nomi's son, Shisui. And Shisui, 547 is the genius who will open Mangekyo Sharingan in the future. I don't care. You offended me anyway. I'm so angry. Yizan was unrelenting, sitting on the desk obstructing Sarutobi's work. Sarutobi had no choice but to put down his pen and rub his head bitterly. Well, I was wrong, everything is my fault. Then Xiaoshuan, how do you want me to make up for you? Uncle Yuhio and Uncle Mitarashi are so annoying. I've never been allowed to get close to their daughter. You have to find a way for me, you know. I don't understand. I understand. Sarutobi nodded immediately upon seeing Yizan's vicious gaze. Don't worry. I will say good things in front of them and let them stop blocking you, okay? One more question. What's the problem? When Jiraiya comes to the office next time, you must promise me to punch him the moment you see him. Ah, why is that? Because you beat him suddenly. he will feel wronged for no reason. If he is wronged, I am happy. Yizan smiled and raised his head, his feet dangling on the desk, looking very happy. Sarutobi was powerless to resist Yizan's wicked taste. He agreed in a dejected manner, and finally drove Yizan off the desk. And at this moment, boom! A loud bang, Jiraiya kicked the door open and walked in swaggeringly. Dead monkey. I see. Sarutobi sighed. Seeing Jiraiya walking and beaming, he suddenly raised his fist and hit Jiraiya's face with lightning speed. Boom! Oops! Jiraiya screamed, covering his face with his hands and squatting back a few steps on the ground. His nose happened to be hit by Sarutobi. It was sour and sour, making his tears and snot flow continuously. Mr. Sarutobi, why are you beating me? Jiraiya's face was full of grief and anger. He wiped his nosebleed with all his might, and sat on the ground. Jiraiya, get up. I don't. You hit me. I didn't make a mistake. Why did you hit me? Jiraiya sat on the ground like a child playing tricks. He was extremely wronged. One punch. Jiraiya and Sarutobi were arguing, but Yizan happily stood up. He walked past Jiraiya smartly, and when he reached the gate, he turned around and waved to Sarutobi, and hopped out of the office. Dead monkey, work hard, I'll go back and play with my wives, bye. Leaving the office, Yizan walked leisurely on the road. Suddenly, a gust of wind hit the back of his head, Yizan slightly over his head, and easily dodged the attack. Yo, little brat, it's you. Asshole, I'm not a brat. Then what's your name? My name is Kakashi, Hatake Kakashi. Silver white hair, covered face, short stature is only 6 years old. I have to say, Kakashi is a genius, just 6 years old, he has been promoted to Chunin. Kakashi little brat, what's the matter with me? Yizan picked his nose idly, and Kakashi was a little angry with his leisurely appearance. I said it all, I'm not a brat, also, I'm here today, I'm here to challenge you. Kakashi's face was full of yuhi, not shy, but by Yi Xuanqi, he squeezed his fist angrily. Chunin's aura was invincible for his peers. Unfortunately, in Yizan's eyes, Kakashi was too weak, as if thinking of something, his eyes lit up, looked left and right, and pointed to a palm-sized stone not far away. Kakashi, you are not qualified to challenge me, but if you can fulfill my requirements, I can also consider fighting you. What request? Well, that stone. Yizan raised his chin, and a hint of mockery crossed the corner of his mouth. If you can break that stone, I will accept your challenge. Really? Never lie to you. Yizan bowed, and finally made Kakashi believe it. He turned his head to look at the stone. For Chunin, breaking a stone is completely simple. In order to challenge Yizan, Kakashi hurried over to pick up the stone. At this moment, Yizan chuckled, and an illusory golden force field spread out instantly, covering the stone. Stone, give me face and become stronger than iron. That moment, a large amount of Kakashi's invisible golden light poured into the stone, strengthening the molecular density of the stone. Kakashi couldn't stop it at all. He squeezed it hard, and unexpectedly found that the stone didn't move at all. Isn't it? I'm Chunin, this stone. Isn't it stronger? Kakashi frowned slightly, then intensified his strength, getting bigger and bigger, until finally, he tried his best, the stone still didn't move. How is that possible? Kakashi was shocked. At the age of 6, he couldn't hide his inner emotions at all. He looked at Yizan and found that Yizan still looked lazy and obviously didn't look at him. Damn, I'm Chunin. I won't lose. Isn't it just breaking a stone? I don't believe that even a stone can't be broken. Since that's the case. Chidori. Chapter 291-Will of Fire. For the next few days, Yizan has been in a relatively cheerful state. Every day at home with a few girls tired, go out on time to go to the Hokage office after lunch to see Konoha's pre-war preparations and various deployments, and meet Kakashi on time after leaving the Hokage building. As I said, I don't believe you can do it without crushing stones in my face. Yizan said as he walked. Kakashi foolishly followed Yizan's side, looking at the stone in his hand and couldn't say anything. He didn't understand why every time Yizan appeared, the stone in his hand was extremely hard, and every time Yizan left, he could easily crush the stone. I'm not convinced. You must have done something. You have the ability to accept my challenge. Huh. Kakashi attacked Yizan again, but Chunon's speed was like a snail in Yizan's eyes. Yizan didn't even look at it. He took a step to the left at will, dodging Kakashi's attack. Kakashi, if you have to die, don't blame me for bullying tilde you. Zai's nose bridge at a lightning speed. Boom. Ah. Kakashi screamed and fell back 10 steps to the ground. He held his nose tightly, tears and nosebleeds flowing out instantly. You are cheating. How did I cheat? You attacked me. Oh. Yizan nodded irrefutably, strode over to Kakashi, raised his fist, and swiped it fiercely. Bang bang ping ping pong. Beating Kakashi into a pig's head, Yizan walked towards the house refreshed, but he had just walked a few steps, and when he was still halfway away from home, an Anbu suddenly appeared beside Yizan, silently. Bowing. Master Zan, in an emergency, Master Hokage is looking for you. Huh, why are you looking for me again? I just left him. Yizan blinked his eyes, his face full of doubts. It's like this, just now, the headmaster came back with a seriously injured Soji-sama. Currently, Soji-sama is in the hospital for emergency treatment. When I left, Tsunade-sama had already been notified and was on the way to the hospital. Hokage-sama wants you to get to the office as soon as possible. Anbu's words made Yizan's heart jump, and a bad premonition emerged. He raised his head and looked into the distance, his eyes locked on the top of the Hokage building, his figure flashed, and the space was instantly torn apart to reach the Hokage building. In Hokage's office, Sarutobi, Danzo, and the two major advisors gathered together. Hatake Sakumo had a lot of bandages on his body, and it seemed that he had suffered a lot of skin injuries. At this moment, he rarely knelt on one knee on the ground, lowered his head, and didn't say a word. The atmosphere in the office is extremely depressing to ultimate. Sarutobi held the pipe tightly in his hand and kept trembling. If you look closely, you can see that there are many fine lines and cracks on the solid top pipe, which was pinched by Sarutobi. Danzo's eyes were gloomy, and his fingers shrouded in his robes clenched tightly, making a crisp, click, click, sound. If you choose to give up Hyuga Soji and adopt guerrilla tactics, you can gradually deplete their numbers and force them to give up on Yamada Seichi. Do you understand? I understand. Understood. I don't think you understand. Asshole. Do you know how much Konoha will suffer if you do this? There are more than 500 spies in the land of soil, 400 spies in the land of wind, and 600 spies in the land of thunder. And more than 200 spies from the land of water, as well as our Konoha military force, deployed in secret. And all our intelligence bases in the land of fire, all finished. Hatake Sakumo, what the hell are you doing? Quote. Danzo yelled, the office windows rattled, Hatake Sakumo lowered his head, his eyes were hollow, as if he had lost his strength, and faced Danzo's anger without further explanation. I'm sorry, all the responsibility is on me. His mood was extremely low, not only because the mission failed, but also because he came back with Hyuga Zanji on his back, and was scolded by Hyuga Zanji along the way. Is it worth it? Thinking of Hyuga Soji's angry and even hateful eyes, he asked himself countless times, in order to save his good friend, he gave up his mission, and even his good friend could not understand. To Hyuga Soji, his own life is nothing compared to the lives of all spies, nor to the impending crisis of Konoha, because he loves Konoha, so he hates Hatake Sakumo and Hatake Sakumo's wife. Just when the atmosphere in the office was so oppressive that everyone was about to suffocate, Yizan jumped off the roof of the Hokage building and got in directly through the window. The moment he entered the office, his heart tightened and he was almost stunned by the breath of the office. What are you doing? Looking like you are going to die. Dead monkey, Dad, 2 elders, what are you doing? Yizan walked slowly in front of Hatake Tsukumo, turned around, and instantly blocked the sight of the 4 senior executives. Once blocked by Yizan, the 4 finally retracted their gazes, and the dignified atmosphere that was almost suffocating finally eased a little. Sorry, Xiaoxuan, Needless to say, I know. Yizan waved his hand to interrupt Hatake Tsukumo's words. He didn't look back at Hatake Tsukumo, and looked at the 4 senior executives with bright eyes. Hatake Tsukumo did nothing wrong. You shouldn't be like this. Xiaozan, now is not the time for you to be self-willed. Dad, I know you are very angry now. There are thousands of spies from the 4 countries, including senior spies who have been lurking for 10 years. The Third Ninja War will break out at any time. When this happens, Konoha will suffer unprecedented, but I also want to say, Tsukumo is right. Quote. The face of Danzo's rebuke. Yizan did not give in. His eyes were very clear, even to the point of bright. What is the will of fire? We Konoha, why have we always been the strongest in the ninja world? Because there are so many geniuses. Because too many families. Wrong. We Konoha are strong because of unity, protection and love. Indeed, because of Tsukumo's single thought, we Konoha will suffer unprecedented losses, and will kill many fellow spy. In the big picture, Hatake Tsukumo committed death penalty. But isn't his behavior the will of fire? If he is wrong, the will of fire is wrong. Yizan roared out the last sentence, and the fierce tone shocked everyone. Hatake Tsukumo behind him suddenly raised his head and stared at Yizan's back. At that moment, tears overflowed from the corners of his eyes. Those who can't protect their comrades don't deserve to be ninjas. Chapter 292-Punishment and Surface Kung Fu. There was no sound in Hokage's office. Sarutobi took out some leaf smoke and stuffed it into his pipe, struck a match, and puffed hard without making a sound. Danzo's fist hidden in his sleeve relaxed a little, and he looked at Yizan silently, his eyes full of relief. Since Yizan finished saying this, the 2 advisors directly fought Chan Oil. Hatake Tsukumo is an important fighting force of Konoha, from the heart. Of course they do not want Hatake Tsukumo to have an accident, but this is really a big mistake. If the law is used to it can really be regarded as a death sentence. Smoke lingered. Sarutobi sighed softly, looked at Danzo, moved the corners of his mouth, hesitated for a moment, and finally asked, Danzo, what do you think? You're Hokage, you can handle this, I won't judge. Danzo took a step back, remaining neutral. Although he was angry with Hatake Tsukumo, but since his son was arguing with reason and speaking righteously, he couldn't refute it. His son's behavior was obvious, and he had to protect Tsukumo. As a father, he would not touch his son. Danzo remained neutral, and Sarutobi almost guessed. Looking at the 2 advisors, Homura Mitokado took a step back, abstaining from neutral. Kaharu, how about you? I think Xiaoxuan is right. The will of fire is the will passed down from the first generation, protecting, loving, uniting, and being friendly, but Hatake Tsukumo made such a big mistake. Just let him go. How can he convince the public? The village has village rules. The death penalty can be avoided, and the living crime cannot escape. Kaharu Udatane's words made everyone in the room nodded in unison, and even Yizan did not refute. After all, this would kill thousands of people and leak the information of the whole country. Such a big mistake will not be punished. If it spreads out well, it could be an uncontrollable disaster. If there is 1, there will be 2, if there is 2, there will be 3. If you let everyone know that if you make a mistake, you can find an excuse to escape. At that time, the ninjas will make mistakes and settle it with a will of fire. A death penalty can be avoided, but a living crime can't be escaped. Xiaoxuan, what do you think? Yes. Tsukumo. I made a big mistake, shamelessly confronted my fellow Konoha. Death is my best destination, and I abide by any punishment. Hatake Tsukumo said so. Sarutobi nodded. He thought for a while, and issued the punishment order in a deep voice. Hatake Sakumo, from now on, deprive you of the position of Minister Anbu. In order to quell public grievances, you must not appear in front of Konoha civilians and ninjas for 10 years. Sakumo, do you understand? Understood. From today, Konoha will no longer have Hatake Sakumo. My current name is Zuo Yun. For the next 10 years, I will be an ordinary member of Anbu. But, Anbu cannot be without a minister. Zuo Yun will go to Hokage again. Lord Zan proposes to promote Lord Zan to Minister Anbu. PFF'd. Sakumo, you are courting death. I'm not a minister. I don't handle documents. You bastard. Even if you are an ordinary member of Anbu, you have to do what the minister should do for me. Yizan was furious, pointed at Hatake Sakumo and scolded. The jumping appearance dispelled the last repression in the office. Sarutobi smiled cheerfully, looked at Danzo, and nodded in agreement. Sakumo. Oh no, Zuo Yun, your suggestion is very reasonable. Then from now on, mention Shimura-gen as Konoha Anbu minister. Hey, dead monkey, haven't beaten you for a long time, your skin is itchy. Believe it or not, I'll beat you to death. Yizan fiercely rushed in front of Sarutobi. Seeing that he was about to start, Sarutobi immediately begged for mercy. His face finally appeared bitter expression. Xiaozan, don't. Everyone is watching. Oh, even if you are mentioned as the minister, Zuo Yun is also a member of Anbu. You can order him to do whatever you want, even if you hand over all the documents and things to Zuo Yun's actions are also your power. Really? Are you sure you're not trolling me on purpose? Of course not. Don't forget, Anbu's first rule is to absolutely obey the arrangements of his superiors. Oh, that's right. Then, Sakumo, bark like a dog. Sorry, Minister, I'm Zuo Yun. Then Zuian, you. Sorry, Lord Minister, Anbu obeys the arrangement of his superiors, only limited to work and tasks. Yizan. The matter of Hatake Sakumo is solved perfectly. It can even be said that these so-called punishments are only for outsiders to see, only for Konoha civilians and other ninjas. Hatake Sakumo still handles all things of Anbu, just in a different name. Well, in some cases, superficiality really matters, at least in the eyes of the uninformed. Hatake Sakumo has disappeared. In order to make the matter more real, Danzo started to spread the news as soon as he went back, saying that Hatake Sakumo had committed suicide in the Hokage office. With the spread and fermentation of the news, only a week later, all Konoha knew the ins and outs of the matter, and for Hatake Sakumo's suicide, there was no way for them to continue insulting, and they could only stop there. Of course, Hatake Sakumo is still in Anbu, and the members of Anbu will never reveal the news that Hatake Sakumo is alive. After all, this is their most respected minister, and one of Anbu's rules is that anything about Anbu happens, absolutely confidential. Yamada Seichi has almost arrived at Iwagakure village. The spies in Iwagakure village have no hope of escaping. I suggest sending the 3.1 fastest communication ninja to recall all the spies from the Land of Wind, Land of Thunder and Land of Water. Come, how much can you come back alive? At least, you can't be wiped out. Yizan's suggestion was completely approved, and soon, the messenger bird flew in 3 directions. In this case, the country that cannot bet on the soil will not share spy information. Even if the hidden efforts fall short for many years, the lives of the spies must be guaranteed. After all, these spies were carefully trained by Konoha. After so many years of lurking, they could still bring some information back. Hatake Sakumo's feigned death. Kakashi is the saddest one. Since the day the news came out, this kid has never looked for Yizan again. Hatake Sakumo is worried about Kakashi. At his strong request, Yizan finally came to the Hatake family mansion. Chapter 293-Education Kakashi. Dong dong dong. Hatake mansion. Yizan kept knocking on the door. Kakashi, there's a handsome guy for door-to-door service. Open the door. Dong dong dong. He kept knocking for 5 minutes, but there was no movement inside. Finally, Yizan knocked impatiently. Seeing that no one opened the door, he raised his right foot and kicked out. Boom! The door was kicked open, and a few pieces of material on the door panel were even shattered. Yizan walked in leisurely. Before taking a few steps, he found Kakashi standing on the outer edge of the wooden corridor of the mansion, staring silently. With Yizan. "You're at home, why don't you open the door for me? You can come in directly, why did you kick down the door of my house?" Kakashi was expressionless, but with a natural poisonous tongue. Yizan turned his head and glanced at the door, shrugged, passed Kakashi, and walked into the room on his own. "I am a civilized person. I never do anything like over 30 walls." Yizan is relatively familiar with Hitachi Mansion. When he was 7 years old, he spent several months at Hitachi's house every day after school to receive training from Tsukumo. Hitachi Tsukumo is an old-fashioned person. From the courtyard to the room, all the furnishings have not changed. Pass. Yizan ignored Kakashi, took out a blue and white porcelain from the locker next to the room, lifted the lid, and took a half-ton of tea leaves from it. Boil the water, set the tea set, and after a while, Yizan sat lazily at the coffee table, the smoke lingered, and the faint scent of tea permeated the entire room. "You know my father very well." "Well, when I was very young, I practiced in your house for a few months." "Seriously, I used to be your father's subordinate. Sit down." Yizan pointed to the tatami mat opposite. Kakashi hesitated for a while, and finally knelt down on the tatami mat. Yizan frowned and reprimanded. "You are not allowed to sit on your knees, your feet are placed casually, as long as you are comfortable." "What? Shit etiquette is a piece of shit in my eyes." Yizan's words. He had been taught by Hitachi Tsukumo since he was a child, and his practice and living habits were all straightforward, but today, this person in front of him told him not to abide by etiquette. "But, it seems to be really comfortable." Kakashi changed his posture. His feet were casually slanted on the ground, his body leaned to the right, his elbows were on the ground, and he was so comfortable that he couldn't help yawning. "Are you comfortable?" "Well," Kakashi nodded, as if thinking of something. His face changed slightly, he got up immediately, and sat upright again. "What's the matter with you looking for me? If it's just to comfort me, I don't think so." His tone was a bit cold. Hitachi Tsukumo's death caused a serious change in his mentality. Ninjas must obey the rules and violate the rules of the ninjas. Humans are trash. My father's death will be worthy of death. Don't worry, I, Hitachi Kakashi, will not repeat the mistakes of my father. His voice is getting colder and colder, but his tone is mixed with extremely suppressed emotions. He is just suppressing the emotions that are about to collapse at any time. He looked at Yizan coldly like this, and Yizan took a sip from the teacup in a leisurely manner. "Hey, it's so hot." The hot tea finally couldn't make Yizan leisurely. He opened his mouth and spread out his tongue, head and kept breathing, then put the teacup in the tea tray, and his mouth kept making a hoo-hoo sound. And Yizan's carefree look finally made Kakashi frown. His face was cold, and his eyes were full of deep rejection. "Shimura-san, did you listen to me? I said, if you made a special trip to comfort me, it's not necessary. This is my home. I don't welcome you. If there's nothing wrong, please leave." He directly issued an eviction order, and the death of his father made him not have any good feelings for the top management of Konoha. Whether the Shimura family or the Sarutobi family were the murderers who forced his father to death. Seeing Kakashi's attitude, Yizan finally fell silent. He sat quietly for a while, took a sip of the teacup, got up, and walked silently to the door. "Kakashi, you're right, those who violate the rules of the ninja, we call them trash." Yizan walked to the door step by step, then he turned to look at Kakashi with a serious face. "However, people who don't know how to value their companions are not even worthless. Konoha White Fang is a true hero." Yizan's words completely shocked Kakashi. He just sat in the room in a daze, and here, Yizan had already left the Hitachi mansion. A man was covered with black cloth, even his head and hair were wrapped in black cloth. Anbu appeared in front of Yizan. "How is it?" "That's it, I've said what I have to say. and I don't know what the final effect will be, but you really don't go home. I won't come back. My wife died of illness 2 years ago, and Kakashi is the only one left in the family. If I fake death, I can make Kakashi mature quickly. Hey. I'll talk about it later. Hatake Tsukumo sighed softly, although Konoha forgave him his sins, but he always made a big mistake. As a part of Konoha who loves deeply, he can't cross the hurdle in his heart. He must atone for his sins, only in this way can he peace of mind. Since you have made up your mind, I won't advise you anymore. Go back to the Anbu base by yourself. You still have to deal with the documents that should be dealt with, but don't think I'm Minister Anbu, you bastards, don't try to impose your work on me. I don't have enough time for girls every day, and I will never accept your work. Yizan cursed angrily, his figure flashed and disappeared instantly. Place, Hatake Tsukumo was left alone in a daze. He glanced at the Hatake mansion again, and finally turned around, turning into a lightning bolt and rushing into the distance. Hatake Tsukumo didn't realize that, when he left, Kakashi happened to open the door and saw the familiar thunder light in the distance. He widened his eyes in shock and blinked, and the thunder light had disappeared. Father! Kakashi quickly chased out, but it was a clear sky, without any trace of lightning. He stood on the eaves, silent for a long time, a little lonely, and finally sighed softly, turned and jumped off the eaves, dragging tiredness body returned to the room. It's an illusion. Chapter 294 Promise me one thing. Hatake Tsukumo's suicide shocked the whole ninja world. At the same time, all the spies lurking in the land were cleared, and the spies of the 3 kingdoms of wind, thunder and water fled wildly. Konoha, there is an unprecedented crisis. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. 3 generations of Hokage hurriedly contacted Onoki, and Onoki agreed to send troops without hesitation. The land of wind and the land of water also chose to send troops at the same time. How about the water country? It has been negotiated with the Uchiha Hyuga clan, and the 2 clans and some ordinary Jonin and Chunin will unite against each other. Who are the strong enemies? There are 2 top powerhouses. One is the current 4th generation Mizukage Yagura, and the other is the chief elder of the village of Kurigakure, who is the 3rd generation Mizukage who has stepped down. What? 3 generations of Mizukage have become the great elder. In Hokage's office, Yizan's eyes widened in surprise. He had no idea that Kurigakure village would actually do this trick. It's normal. The 3rd generation of Mizukage was originally the 1st generation's guard. After the death of Ghost Lantern, he was the strongest at the Kage level, and he became Mizukage with his ability as a shadow. Later, Yagura became a Kage-level powerhouse. The 3rd generation of Mizukage voluntarily abdicated and became Great Elder. Yagura is a child. No, Yagura seems to have dwarfism and is only 1.4 meters tall, but he is in his 20s. 2 years ago, he became a 3-tailed Jinchuriki column force. Relying on his own strength and the tailed beast chakra, his strength is not weak. Sarutobi explained in a slow voice, which also made Yizan gradually understand the situation. Although he has memories of his previous life, some of his memories are relatively vague after so many years, such as parallel imports like Yagura. Clear. The Ghost Lantern clan, the Water Moon clan, and the Kagaya clan in the Land of Water are not as powerful as Tu and Lei, but their combined combat power surpasses that of the Land of Wind. Can Uchiha and Hyuga alone do it? Kaharu Udatane was worried, frowning. Although he wants to deal with Uchiha, he can't gamble on Konoha's fate. No problem. Although there are 4 generations of Mizukage Yagura and the first 3 generations of Mizukage in the Land of Water, there are many 3 Tomo elite Jonins in Uchiha, and there are also many top elite Jonins. The first 3 generations of Mizukage and Yagura are not members of the Bloodstain family, only Uchiha Ida. People, you can deal with the first 3 generations of Mizukage. Danzo said in a condensed voice. His eyes kept flickering, looking a little weird. Danzo, you won't do anything, right? Sarutobi knew Danzo best, and his face suddenly became very serious after seeing Danzo's strange eyes. now it's a ninja war. Don't worry, Sarutobi, trust me, my ultimate purpose is for Konoha. Danzo smiled. Obviously, he had some intrigue on Uchiha's side, but Danzo didn't want to say. Sarutobi couldn't do anything about him either. Forget it, Danzo, you can figure it out for yourself. We have recalled all the spies, and we have no way of knowing when the four powers will go out. In order to prevent this from happening, everyone should be prepared and gather your legion early tomorrow morning to fight to protect Konoha. The gorgeous house was lively and lively. This time, I didn't call my friends, only Yizan and a few women in the family were lively. The sun was setting and the lanterns were just going up. The girls happily ate a sumptuous dinner, but Yizan rolled his eyes, not knowing what bad idea he was playing. Tomorrow all of us will go to the battlefield. Tsunade's sister, which team are we assigned to? Kushina asked while eating. Since the four major powers have already torn their faces to destroy Konoha, her hidden way does not need to continue. Hidden, it's time to show. Let's go to the land of wind. The little lecher is the leader. I will be in charge of Chio. The lecher will be in charge of Kazekage for the 4th generation. Kushina will be in charge of Jinchuriki column force. Makoto, Conan, you have to pay attention to safety. Once they appear crisis, run in the direction of the bastard immediately. After Tsunade finished speaking, seeing that Yizan was sneaky, he couldn't help but put down his chopsticks and raised his hand to knock. Boom. Ouch. Tsunade, why are you knocking on me? Why not? What were you thinking just now? I didn't think of anything. Yi Xuantian really blinked his eyes. His eyes were still rolling. His hand under the dining table slowly moved to Tsunade's lap, covered by the tablecloth. Everything seemed very secret. Moved inward along the legs, Tsunade hummed softly, and his body began to soften. Girls were still eating the vegetables. For the sake of face, Tsunade resisted the feeling of his body and his face was calm, but as Yizan's claws were placed in the innermost part, Tsunade's cheeks finally showed a dizziness of Yuhi. Little bastard. She glared at Yizan sternly, put down her left hand quietly, and stopped Yizan's behavior, but Yizan did not give up because of Tsunade's stop. His fingers were very flexible, and he pushed hard inside. Ah! Tsunade exclaimed, and immediately attracted the attention of the girls. She resisted the feeling of weakness all over her body and said calmly, "It's okay, I just thought of something and forgot to do it. Let's continue eating." After she finished speaking, she squeezed Yizan's hand again. She had no idea that Yizan would dare to do such a thing when everyone was eating. Little pervert, come out. I'm not coming out, Tilda. Please. Body became softer and softer. Tsunade couldn't control it gradually. She looked at Yizan pitifully, like a kitten, very cute. You can come out, but you have to promise me one thing tonight. What's the matter? Don't worry about it, just ask if you agree. The two kept making eye contact, and in order to realize the bad idea in their hearts, Yizan moved his hands again, which immediately caused Tsunade to tremble and Yuhi all over his face. Little bastard, you're so annoying. Alright, I promise. Whatever I do tonight, I promise. Now let me go. Tsunade agreed. Yizan thief took out his hand, and he wiped his finger on the corner of Tsunade's clothes, leaving behind a piece of water. Hate. Tsunade was embarrassed, and immediately buried his head to eat, and at this moment, Yizan put another hand on Kushina's lap, and after a while, Kushina's face became Yuhi. Stinky bastard, what are you doing? Come out. You can come out, but tonight, you have to promise me one thing. Chapter 295 Makoto's decision. 11 p.m. The entire Konoha fell into complete silence. The lights on the street were flickering dimly, and a few mice were running through the garbage cans. The moon hangs high in the sky, bright, and the cold silver light scatters, covering the ground with a layer of silver frost. In the huge and luxurious 3-story villa, Yizan had a bad expression on his face. If you look closely, you can find two women lying on the huge bunk. Stinky rascal, you are getting more and more lustful. Kushina's face was full of Yuhi. She curled her toes nervously, and by the bright moonlight, she was pure and flawless. Little bastard. Tsunade has the same face as Yuhi, but compared to Kushina, she is bolder. Seeing Yizan walking to the edge of the shop step by step, she took the initiative to open her hand and put her arms around Yizan's neck. Little bastard, do you have a big appetite tonight? Want to eat me and Kushina together? He. As expected of my Tsunade wife, since you guessed it right, I'll give you a reward. Yizan smirked, hugged Tsunade and kissed him fiercely. After a while, Tsunade was lying on the bunk, and Yizan was sitting on top of her. 910 dark clouds gradually appeared in the bright night sky, which soon blocked the moonlight. In the spacious and gorgeous bedroom, there were several suppressed calls from time to time, followed by another equally beautiful voice. The two voices interweaved to form a dark night. Dance music. Early in the morning, the sun was shining softly, and Makoto yawned sleepily. Today was the day of Konoha's expedition. At 9 o'clock in the morning, all the ninjas had to gather in the vast square under the Hokage rock. There was no one in the living room, and there was no sound in the bathroom. Makoto was helpless. She knew that these slackers were sleeping late again. Brother Zan, Sister Tsunade, Kushina, Konan, get up. Today is the day when the ninja army gathers, don't be late. Makoto stood on the first floor and shouted loudly, but there was no sound from the bedrooms on the second floor. She blinked her eyes suspiciously, and stepped up the stairs step by step. Since Yizan's room was at the outermost side, she prepared wake up Yizan first. Brother Zan, get up soon. She held the door handle and gently twisted the door open. Then, her eyes widened in disbelief, and her delicate cheeks instantly turned into Yuhi color. In her eyes, there were two naked women lying beside Yizan. Since Kushina and Tsunade were both careless people who liked to kick the quilt had already slipped onto the wool carpet. Makoto is very simple. Over the years, Yizan did not deliberately eat Makoto, and then he usually made some small moves, but she never expected that Tsunade and Kushina would actually have sex with Yizan. Yizan tried this feeling for the first time. Because of the excitement in his heart and the excitement in his body, he and the two women fought until dawn. The intense exercise consumed a lot of physical strength, so that after the three fell asleep, they did not hear Makoto's voice at all. Makoto. The sudden sound made Makoto shrink in fright, and immediately turned his head, only to find that Konan was standing at the end of the corridor tired, with deep bags under his eyes and a bad mental outlook, as if he hadn't slept all night. Konan. Shish. Konan put his index finger on his mouth and made a silent motion, walked over slowly, gently closed the door of Yizan's bedroom, and took Makoto back to the first floor. They didn't sleep until 7 o'clock this morning, let them sleep. After Konan finished speaking, he yawned tiredly again, and lay on the sofa, his eyes closed as soon as they caught up. Konan, what's wrong with you? Me, ha. Konan yawned again, his cheeks slightly Yuhi, his eyes flashed with strange colors. They didn't close the door last night. I looked through the crack of the door and watched all night. Ah. Ah what, Makoto sister, you are too simple, the teacher is a very lustful villain, you. Konan shook his head. As a loyal fan of Hell and Heaven, Konan knew a lot, and although she and Yizan did not break through the last floor, she often quietly used her mouth to help Yizan solve the problem. In the whole family, only Mrs. Makoto too simple, no nothing. However, Konan missed a bit. Makoto grew up with Yizan's childhood sweetheart. She has long regarded herself as Yizan's wife. She always wanted to be Yizan's real woman, but Yizan did not act, she was gentle and shy. Of course she couldn't take the initiative to attack. However, she was extremely shocked by today's scene. She didn't expect Yizan to do this with the two girls. Brother Zan. Makoto silently recited Yizan's name in her heart, her hands covering her heart. She seemed to decide something. Her eyes were firm and silent, but she had already made an unprecedented plan. Today is the time for the ninjas to gather. Although Yizan and the two girls were exhausted, they finally opened their eyes under the constant calls of Conan. It's 8:40. I'm dizzy. It's all your fault, the little pervert. Wash up quickly, it's a shame to be late. Tsunade got up in a hurry, pulled the confused Kushina and rushed towards the bathroom. Conan was preparing breakfast in the kitchen, and Yizan was alone in the bedroom. Ha! Yizan lay on the bed and yawned tiredly. He wiped the tears from his yawn, pulled up the bed, and covered his head. Go to sleep. The dead monkey's pre-war speech took an hour. With this plan in mind, Yizan fell asleep shortly after, but before he slept for a long time, he felt something moving below. He opened his eyes lazily, and found that a human figure was arched inside the bed. Conan, you little pervert. Yizan shook his head amusingly. Although he fighted all night, his body was extremely strong, and he felt it soon. He slowly opened the bed and was about to say something, but the next second, his eyes widened in shock. His eyes were full of disbelief. Makoto. Yizan was dumbfounded, and at this time, Makoto raised his head with a face full of yuhi, and threw himself on Yizan. She stared straight at Yizan, her eyes full of stubbornness. Brother Zan, I want to be your woman. Chapter 296_snoring. About 8,000 ninjas gather in the wide square below Hokage Rock. Among them, there are Jonin, Chunin, and some Genin, which occupy the entire square densely. After the consumption of the Second Ninja World War, the total number of Konoha ninjas dropped from 15,000 to 10,000. This is still after years of rapid development, otherwise there are not even 10,000. Among them, 2,000 people stayed behind Konoha as the last protection and trump card, and the other 8,000 people gathered in the square, divided into 4 large square teams, neatly arranged. Yizan stood alone in the front of one of the squads. Tsunade and several top elite Jonin stood in the first row. Kushina, Makoto and Conan were mixed in the middle of the team. At least before leaving Konoha, they had no privileges and Yizan side by side. Sarutobi kept giving speeches on the Hokage Rock, igniting the emotions of thousands of ninjas guarding their homes. Yizan yawned tiredly, as if a chain reaction. Tsunade and Kushina also yawned. As if feeling the resentful gaze behind him, Yizan shivered slightly. He knew that gaze must have come from Makoto. Makoto, calm down. We'll be gathering now, I swear. When this war is over, I'll make you my woman. This is what Yizan said to Makoto 15 minutes ago. Although Makoto agreed, she still looked at Yizan with resentful eyes. In her heart, she had fallen a long way behind Tsunade Kushina, and even made her reach the point of eager devotion. To the point of. However, things like popping need a very comfortable environment. Only when they are very feeling, will they burst out with strong happiness. Yizan cherishes Makoto very much, so he doesn't want to take Makoto's first time just like that. Look for an opportunity in the future to create a very romantic and warm atmosphere, and blend with Makoto in beauty and love. Cough cough. Yizan said that as a man of literature and art, picking up girls should use literary and artistic techniques, full of artistic flavor. Sarutobi kept talking on the Hokage Rock. Yizan, who had fighted all night, only felt his brain was chaotic. Sarutobi's voice sounded from all directions. Exhausted, he had to take out 2 kiba sticks from the kabuto. The bottom of the kiba sticks supported the lower eyelid, and the top was against the eyelids, but gradually, the eyelids became heavier and heavier. Cut. Even failed to sign kiba. Yizan knew that he really couldn't do it. He yawned deeply, took out a pen from his arms, closed his eyes, drew 2 circles on his eyelids, and clicked one in the middle. Clicked, then threw away the pen, put his arms around his arms, and after a while, he made a uniform snoring sound. Comrades, behind us are our relatives and friends. Our wives and children. Can we let the enemy in? No, for our family, we must defeat the enemy. We. Who? Snort. A snoring sound suddenly came from the crowd of 10,000 people below. As everyone listened to Sarutobi's speech quietly and enthusiastically, the sudden snoring suddenly caught everyone's attention. Who is it? Sarutobi glanced down with a black line on his face. A crowd of people crowded in a square, shaking Sarutobi dizzy. He also glanced at Yizan, but due to the distance, he saw that Yizan had his eyes open, indicating that it was not Yizan. Zan is sleeping. Apart from Xiaoshuan and Jiraiya, who would dare to sleep while I'm giving a speech? Sarutobi was puzzled, and below, Tsunade finally couldn't help but stepped forward and pinched Yizan hard. Ah, Tsunade, what are you doing? By Tsunade, Yizan instantly woke up from his sleep. As soon as he opened his eyes, the eyes drawn on his eyelids looked particularly funny. Idiot, your snoring was so loud just now that you interrupted Mr. Sarutobi. Huh, oh, I'll pay attention. Yizan shook his head and was barely awake. Due to the dense crowd of ninjas in the square, Sarutobi didn't see Tsunade and Yizan's small movements. The snoring in the square disappeared, and Sarutobi could only choose to forget. After all, the most important thing now is to take an oath, and must arouse the enthusiasm of the ninjas to protect their homes. Comrades, we Konoha ninjas are united and fraternal. For the families behind us. We. Snoring. Who the hell is it? The snoring that appeared again in the square made Sarutobi clench his fists angrily. He swept in all directions viciously, and suddenly, as if he had discovered something, his face finally changed. Stinky boy, it's you. Sarutobi was furious, took a few steps down the Hokage rock, and came to Yizan's side. Stinky boy, don't wake me up yet. He yelled at Yizan's ear, and the violent roar instantly woke Yizan. Yizan shook his head in a daze, and looked extremely cute with a dumb look. Yo, dead monkey, finished. Stop talking, you bastard. Quiet me when you sleep. Sarutobi roared loudly, but Yizan was still dumbfounded, blinking his eyes in confusion. Hey, didn't I draw an eye? Dead monkey, how did you find me? Bah, you little bastard, you forgot to draw your double eyelids. The end, Yizan endured the long pre-war speech, and the 8,000-strong team slowly advanced towards the Konoha Gate, then stopped outside the Konoha Gate, and Sarutobi said goodbye to everyone. Danzo. No problem, leave the land of the earth to me. Danzo nodded to Sarutobi, glanced at Yizan, waved his hand, and led the 2,000 ninjas to leave quickly. The two patriarchs, the country of water depends on you. Don't worry, Konoha will die, Uchiha will die, I understand the truth, the country of water, no problem. Uchiha Ida said, and the Hyuga patriarch also nodded. Although Konoha had internal conflicts, they still understood the reason why the egg was laid under the nest. Sarutobi was in charge of dealing with the Land of Thunder, and after Uchiha and Hyuga's team left, 2 advisors came over. Monkey, the Land of Thunder is up to you. I will try my best. And, with Tsukumo here, the pressure on the Land of Thunder is not too great. Sarutobi glanced at Hitaki Tsukumo, who had his head wrapped in black cloth beside him. In order to conceal the identity of Konoha White Fang, Hitaki Tsukumo gave up his short sword. Although his combat power would decrease, he was also a cage-level powerhouse. Xiaozan, I'll take care of you in the Land of Wind. Don't worry, I will solve the Wind Country as quickly as possible, you guys come on, wait for me to support you. Chapter 297-Action After Camp. In the Third Ninja World War, although more countries of water joined, the overall number of people was completely inferior to the level of World War II. During World War II, Konoha and the Kingdom of Thunder suffered the worst losses. The Kingdom of Wind developed very slowly because of its scum and scarcity of natural resources. The Land of Earth was slightly better, and there were not many losses in the subsequent battles of World War II, but at the beginning, Yizan blew up Kikyo City, resulting in the annihilation of 1,500 strikers of the Land of Earth, which was a relatively heavy blow. On the water countryside, Ghost Lantern Wanyu was instigated by Yizan to attack Kumogakure village. As a result, Ghost Lantern Wanyu died in Raikage's hands. The 3,000 ninjas he brought with him only escaped back half, and the water country took many years to restore the economy. The strength is not as good as when World War II began. The total number of people in the Third World War is not comparable to that of World War II, but the high-end combat power of the Third World War can completely crush the World War II period. Currently, there are Kage, level Onoki, Kage level 4-tailed Manjinchuriki, column Li Laozi, Kage level 5-tailed Manjinchuriki, column Lihan, and Quenying level Lois. 3 generations of top Kage level powerhouses Raikage, Killer Bee Jinchuriki column power Killer Bee with quasi-shadow power, Kage level with Kage level completely released, Yaoi of quasi-shadow, and quasi-Kage level Dodai. Dodai is the one who used Yoden, lava style. During World War II, he was the elite Jonin of the Kingdom of Thunder. After several years of hard practice, he became a quasi-shadow powerhouse. His Yoden, lava style, is not a burning Yoden, lava style but a very strong Yoden, lava style with elasticity and toughness. The Land of Water. There are 4 generations of Mizukage Yagura in Kage level strength, and the 3rd generation Mizukage in quasi-Kage level. The top elite Jonin is of course the 7 ninja swordsmen, as well as various powerful bloodstained families. Of Wind, since the 3rd generation of Kazekage was killed by Sasori, the successor is the 4th generation of Kage level powerhouse Kazekage, the quasi-shadow power is Chiyo, Ebizo, and the completely uncontrollable one-tailed person Jinchuriki column force. The current Jinchuriki column power is not Gaara, but because the seal technique of the Land of Wind is too weak, this generation of Jinchuriki column power is still unable to control Yue, and the overall strength of the entire village ranks at the bottom of the 5 countries. These are the current high-end combat power of the 5 major countries, and the most important thing is that, according to the timeline, in this war, many people will be promoted to Kage level powerhouses. Such as pornography gambling, such as Chiyo, such as Yaoi, oh yes, and Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Mawako followed Danzo against the Land of the Land. After all, in addition to Onoki, the Land of the Land also has Lois and 2 people Jinchuiki column force. After several years of hard practice and crazy execution of his level tasks, 17-year-old Namikaze Minato has the strength of an elite Jonin, plus Yizan's careful guidance. Namikaze Minato has Master Hiraishin plus Rasengan's unsolved routine. But seriously, can we camp right there? I want to sleep. Just less than 10 kilometers away from Konoha, Yizan started to feel lazy. Tsunade held his forehead silently, really wanted to beat this little pervert. Stinky hooligan, you're so embarrassed. If you didn't have to play this last night, it wouldn't be like this. Kushina yawned lazily, although most of Yizan was exercising, but she moved for a long time in a woman's position, and she was exhausted all night. I think it's normal for Kushina to be like this, but... Conan, why are you listless? Tsunade looked at Conan suspiciously. The girl kept yawning all the way, as if she hadn't slept all night, and had deep dark circles under her eyes. I didn't. Conan yawned again before he could finish. The ninja army and the team performed different tasks. They had to rest on their way. After an 8-hour march, Yizan's army finally found a high ground with open terrain to camp, and Yizan finally couldn't take it anymore. I'm going to sleep. Uncle Sunset, you will assign patrols at night and stationing in the camp. Everyone should have dinner. If you don't want to eat dinner to lose weight, go and lose weight. Don't bother me, I want sleep. Yizan temporarily handed over the command of the army to Sunset, and then got into his big tent. After a while, Makoto followed suit. Makoto. I want to sleep with you. Ah, this is in the camp. I want to sleep with you. But they. I want to sleep with you. Makoto's eyes were firm, and regardless of Yizan's agreement or refusal, he walked directly to the side of the temporary shop, helped Yizan tidy up the bed, opened it, and got in on his own. Brother Zan, come to sleep. Makoto's face Yuhi was a little shy, but she still insisted, making Yizan helpless and full of emotion. You little girl. Yizan sighed softly, then took off his coat and pants, washed a little, got into the bed, and lay beside Makoto. Brothers on, hug. Okay, hug. Yizan crossed Makoto's neck with his left hand and hugged Makoto in his arms. He hugged him quietly, and then found that cannot fall asleep. That, Makoto. Huh. Why don't you put your arms around you? I'm a little restless and can't sleep. Do you want me to help you? Makoto opened her bright eyes, and before Yizan could answer, she suddenly got into the bed, and after a while, her head was arched to the position under her abdomen. Although I don't know when Makoto learned it, once something starts, there is no way to stop it. Yizan's face is relieved, his hands are sealed, and using some simple 3.7 single sealing techniques he learned from Kushina, the tent entrance was sealed. This way no one will bother you, Makoto, just hurry up. Oh. That's cool. It wasn't until half an hour later that Makoto got out of the bed. As the army commander of the army, Yizan's tent was 50 square meters, and the equipment was very complete. Makoto rushed directly to the washing place, wrapped his mouth in paper and spit something. Come out, knead the ball, and throw the paper into the trash can. Afterwards, she picked up the Kobo ointment and the Kobo brush and started rinsing her mouth. After rinsing many times, she finally cleaned the smell from her mouth. Brothers on. She returned to Yizan beautifully. Yizan hugged her contentedly, and after a while, a wave of tiredness flooded into his mind. Yizan yawned deeply, and slowly fell asleep. Chapter 298 _ The desert is shattered. The land of wind, Cheyenne village. The wind howled, the sky was filled with yellow sand, and the 5,000 ninjas remained motionless in the wind, as if nothing could be destroyed. The 4 generations of Kazekage and Chiyo stood in front of the army with serious faces. Ebizo took a half step back. From his heart, Ebizo did not support starting a war, but seeing the murderous aura emanating from Chiyo, he could only be silent, not saying a word. Dare not say. Cage-level powerhouse. Chiyo, who is 50 years old this year, has actually become a cage-level powerhouse. You know, 10 years ago, Chiyo was just an elite jonin, and she became a quasi-shadow in the early days of World War II. Unexpectedly, she has been promoted again, exuding the monstrous atmosphere of a cage-level powerhouse. Blah, among all human emotions, hatred, and love, can stimulate the human body's potential the most. This was completely unexpected by Konoha. After all, a cage-level powerhouse wants to hide his strength, and it is not the information that a mere spy can find out. Now because of the leak of information, all the spies are evacuated. 30A spy sent word that Konoha was vulnerable. Konoha White Fang committed suicide. All Konoha spies retreated. Now is the weakest time for Konoha and the best time for us to defeat Konoha. Go out. Between the country of wind and the country of fire, there is a country of rivers. The Konoha army was moving fast, and when the army reached the border of the land of fire, the land of wind was preparing to go out. Shaozan, do you need to set up a defensive position here? Sunset looked at the nearby terrain and thought it was a good defensive position. No, move on. Yizan rejected Yuhyang's suggestion, waved his hand, and led 2,000 ninjas into the country of the Riverland. The cross-sectional area of the Land of Rivers is not very long, and in just one day, the Konoha army crossed the Land of Rivers and reached the border of the Land of Winds. Just here. It's a good defensive spot. No, keep going. Yizan rejected Yuryong's suggestion again. Just when he was about to order to move on, Yuryong finally held him back. Wait, Xiaoshuan, what are you thinking? Sandy ninjas are best at fighting in desert areas. Aren't we deliberately lowering our combat effectiveness when we enter the land of the wind? Why keep moving forward? You don't understand, and I don't want to explain. Execute orders. Yizan didn't know how to explain it, so he directly used the power of the army commander to press Shiryong to shut up. Then, Yizan took the lead again, and Shiryong had no choice but to follow, with a trace of anxiety in his eyes. In order to resist the attack of the Shikoku, our ninjas were forcibly divided into 4 parts. It is very difficult to resist the attack of the sand ninja with only so many people. Why do you want to step into the country of the wind? What is Xiaoshuan thinking? 80% of the land of winds is desert and Gobi. The golden sun hangs high in the sky. In the desert, 2,000 ninjas march on the sand, and their actions are much slower than before. Along the way, the setting sun is frowning. Konoha ninjas can't adapt to the desert climate at all. Once they encounter the ninjas in the sandy village, they will suffer annihilation. Xiaozan. Shiriang wanted to dissuade Yizan again, but the next second, his face changed greatly. He saw that at the end of the distant desert, dense black shadows appeared. Xiaozan. Sunset shouted, but Yizan had an indifferent attitude. He stood lazily on the spot, not worried at all. Uncle Shiriang, don't worry, wait for them to come. No, Xiaoshuan, we should retreat now. We can't fight them in the desert. I said it all, don't worry, let everyone get ready for the attack. Yizan's tone was full of confidence, as if he was sure he could defeat the enemy, but the sunset was helpless, so he could only order all the ninjas to get ready to work hard at any time. At this moment, the sand ninjas at the end of the desert also discovered the Konoha army, and the 4 generations of Kazekage and Chiyo, headed by them, looked at each other and found surprises in each other's eyes. That's the Konoha ninja. How dare they rush into our territory? This is our home. Go, can't let them go. The 4 generations of Kazekage gave the order, and the 5,000 sand ninjas suddenly accelerated and madly killed the Konoha core. Their number was more than double that of the Konoha, and this was the desert, the home of the sand ninjas. In their hearts, they even appeared the excitement and joy of the upcoming victory. The 5,000 sand ninjas are getting closer and closer, and Konoha's side is also concentrating on making a counterattack. No one noticed, an illusory golden light spreads in all directions. 1 meter, 10 meters, 100 meters, 1,000 meters, 10,000 meters. The golden light covered the 10,000-meter desert, forming a super-huge golden cube that enveloped the entire desert. Yizan clasped his palms together, chakra shook suddenly, and there were a few Yuhi-colored lines on his face. Sage mode, on. Desert, give me face, break it. Boom. A muffled sound of 093, a heart-pounding fear suddenly poured into the hearts of all the sand ninjas. The 4th generation Kazekage and Chiyo stopped in an instant, and they stared vigilantly at the Konoha Legion 200 meters ahead. For some reason, the fear in their hearts getting stronger. Boom. Another muffled sound seemed to come from the bottom of the desert. The 4th generation Kazekage lowered his head with a serious face, and suddenly found that the gravel under his feet began to shake. Boom, boom, boom. The muffled sound became stronger and stronger, as if it contained an indescribable power. Suddenly, the 4th generation Kazekage's eyes widened, his eyes were full of shock and disbelief, and then, the expression of ultimate fear. Run, run, don't stay here. Boom. A loud explosion. The Konoha ninjas saw in horror that the 10,000-meter desert in front of them suddenly shattered. It was as if the mouth of a giant beast swallowed up 5,000 sand ninjas. Konoha ninja, kill. The terrifying desert buried all sand ninjas, but such power was not enough to kill ninjas. One by one, the sand ninja rushed out of the crumbling desert. Before they could react, they ushered in the crazy attack of the Konoha ninja. Chapter 299 Kushina, the Idiot. Retreat, retreat, retreat. Say the important thing 3 times. The whole army retreats. The 4th generation of Kazekage issued an order to retreat, and the apocalyptic desert collapsed just now, shattering all the morale of the Wind Nation Legion. Kazekage during World War II. The strength of the 4th generation Kazekage is indeed not very strong in Kage level, and it is not even comparable to Chiyo. Although Chiyo was unscathed, seeing the morale of the army exploded, she had no choice but to use the 10 people of Kinmatsu and manipulate 10 puppets to block the Konoha ninjas and be the queen of the defeated sand ninja. Boom. A loud bang, the puppet shattered. Tsunade waved her fists and kept chasing Chiyo. Although she only has cage-level strength, chakra-enhanced strength still sees whoever is second, but the speed and sensitivity are not comparable to cage-level Chio. Tsunade. Don't think I dare not kill you. Get out. 9 puppets flew towards Tsunade quickly, but they were blocked by the 9 elite Jonin in midair, unable to get close to Tsunade's body at all. Kill me, I want to see how you can kill me without a puppet. Tsunade shouted, chakra poured into his feet, jumped suddenly, jumped 100 meters high, raised his right foot, and slammed his heel towards Chio. Heavenly foot of pain. Boom. The shattered desert once again stirred up the sky with yellow sand. Tsunade kicked it with all his strength, blasting the desert into a huge pit with a diameter of 100 meters and a depth of 5 meters. The hole is filled. There are 2 most terrifying things in the desert. The first is the super desert tornado, and the second is the quicksand. Yizan just used his fruit ability to collapse the desert. Since the desert is soft, even if the sand ninjas fall, they will not be injured, but after the desert collapses, quicksand will form. Because the scope of Yizan's collapse is too wide, it also causes it is extremely difficult for the sand ninjas to escape from the quicksand. Even if they escape in embarrassment, they are attacked by Konoha ninjas with all their strength. At this moment, an extremely violent chakra burst into black and purple light. In this hot summer day, it suddenly became cold and suffocated. Small-tailed beast bomb. Quote. The black-purple chakra ball that condensed to ultimate flew out more than 2,000 meters in an instant, and Sand Ninja, who fled in the front, didn't even react, and was hit by tailed beast bomb. Bang! The violent explosion dyed most of the sky black and purple. Once the high-density chakra ball exploded, the power produced was no less than the Rasengan Shuriken. Roar! A loud bang, a huge raccoon dog covered in violets appeared in the desert. With the help of the tailed beast bomb released by Erway, Kushina happened to hit the Jinchuriki column force of the one who was fleeing, and forced Shukaku to come out. Kushina, you big idiot. I'm sorry, I didn't know it would be such a coincidence. Kushina pouted aggrievedly, she just put a tailed beast bomb casually. How did she know that she hit the Jinchuriki column force of the one-tailed man so coincidentally? You know, in the desert, Shukaku of Sand's strength is doubled. Even if Kushina fully releases Erway, it is not Shukaku's opponent. Fortunately, the tailed beasts have no division of their own camps. In their minds, humans are their enemies. After Shukaku came out, no matter whether Konoha or Sand Ninja, they just screamed and kept releasing huge air-making bombs in all directions. One can blow up a dozen people, scaring everyone to flee frantically. Boom. Ouch. You rascal, you actually knocked on me. Kushina covered her forehead aggrieved, tears flashing in her big beautiful eyes. Don't be cute. Don't fake crying. You big idiot, you had such an advantage in the pursuit, but you ruined it. Let me solve Shukaku. Ooh, this is the desert, it's Shukaku's territory, and the master only has half of Erway's power, so he can't beat it. Makoto, you judge, I'm just here to help Konoha establish an advantage, stinky hooligans blame me. Kushina hugged Makoto and deliberately buried her head in Makoto's murderous part to fake crying. While crying, she quietly raised her head and glanced at Yizan. When she saw Yizan's helpless expression, she stuck out her tongue proudly. Meter Desert was shattered. Even with the support of Sage Mode, Yizan's physical strength was almost exhausted. He stood in the original position and didn't move. Except Tsunade was chasing Chio, the other women surrounded Yizan to protect him. Shukaku appeared, and the Konoha ninja's pursuit gradually slowed down. After all, such a terrifying big thing was randomly releasing large-scale ninjutsu. Konoha slowed down his pursuit. Sand Ninja finally escaped from the 10,000-meter-long desert, and Tsunade stopped fighting Chio more than 3,000 meters away. Sun also stopped here. He and more than 30 elite Jonin contained the 4th-generation Cage. Fortunately, the 4th-generation Cage was only for the rear of the palace, and did not burst out with full force. Except for one unlucky ghost whose arm was crushed by gold dust, the others were not injured. Shukaku on the battlefield turned into a mass of chakra and disappeared without any external force. The fourth generation Kazekage and Chiyo rushed to the place where Shukaku disappeared at the fastest speed. Yi Xuanshu looked into the distance with his eyes wide open. It was discovered that the fourth generation Kazekage was carrying a bald old monk, and it was obvious that this old monk was the one-tailed Jinchuriki column force. Kushina. Huh. Aim for that spot and shoot again. Okay. The black-blue light lit up again, and Kushina was burning with cold chakra. After a while, a fist-sized high-density chakra ball appeared in front of Kushina. She closed her left eye and stared at the fourth-generation Kazekage several kilometers away with her right eye, as if she had already aimed at it. She suddenly swallowed the chakra ball into her mouth, spit it out with all her strength. Small-tailed beast bomb. Quote. Huh. A soft sound, the tiny-tailed beast bomb flew towards the fourth Kazekage with the power to destroy everything. Because the speed of tailed beast bomb is too fast and the scope is too wide, when the fourth generation Kazekage discovered it, it could no longer run out of the attack range. Let me come. Chiyo shouted, quickly controlled a puppet, and slammed into the tailed beast bomb in midair. Boom. The violent explosion shook the desert again, and Chiyo once again lost a crowd of nearly 10 people, blocking the tailed beast bomb. Chapter 300_Space Ninjutsu shows off its might. Sand Ninja lost more than 600 ninjas and retreated. Among them, more than 200 people died in the desert collapse, and the other 400 people died in the pursuit battle. Konoha Fang did not retreat, but rested in place for a day. After the spirit and chakra of the ninjas recovered, they continued to pursue. Yizan was fighting in the Land of Wind, and at the same time, a big event happened on the front of the Land of Water, thousands of miles away. Uchiha Ida is dead. The patriarch of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Ida, was cut off by the former third-generation Mizukage, the current chief elder of the Kurigakure village, 10 seconds ago. Father. Uchiha Fugaku yelled angrily and wanted to take revenge, but was held up by his companions. You must know that the other party was a quasi-cage-level powerhouse, and Fugaku stepped forward, just to deliver food. In a large-scale war of thousands of people, countless detonating talismans were flying, and countless escape techniques broke out. In this kind of battlefield, people would die almost every second. The ninjas were all focused on fighting their opponents. Clearly, Uchiha Ida died suddenly. But it's also right, although Uchiha Ida is a top elite Jonin, although he has 3 hooks 353 Jade Sharingan, but the opponent is always a quasi-cage level powerhouse, even if he is killed, it makes sense. It's just that Ida's identity is too sensitive. As the Uchiha patriarch, he was actually beaten by the other party. Dad. A certain corner of the battlefield, Uchiha Nomi retreated after killing an enemy, and Shisui, who was powerful in Genin, suddenly approached him, his eyes flashing strangely. Dad, why are you doing this? Have you found it? Shisui nodded. He clearly saw just now that his father and a Kurigakure Jonin were fighting and retreating. When passing by Uchiha Ida, he suddenly slapped Ida and punched chakra into Ida's body. At that moment, Ida's chakra was in chaos, and even the ninjutsu he was using failed. The former third-generation Mizukage seized this opportunity and cut off Ida's head with one sword. And a few seconds after Ida's death, Jirjan broke out and killed Kurigakure Jonin with all his strength, so that no one knew that he killed Ida. Shisui, this matter must be rotten in the bottom of my heart. Don't leak any news, understand? Got it. But, Dad, can you tell me why I'm doing this? I'll tell you later. Don't talk about it. The patriarch died and morale plummeted. Let's go and retreat with the big army. Konoha, there are 3 people in the Hokage office. I just got the news that Uchiha Ida is dead, and Uchiha Fugaku will succeed the Uchiha clan on the spot. They asked for reinforcements. What do you think? Homura Mitokado pushed his glasses, and a white light flashed through the lenses. Uchiha Ida's strength is not weak, and he died so quickly, it should be Danzo's trick. Hey, it's okay to die, take advantage of this war, we must weaken Uchiha, they ask for reinforcements. Yes, but not now. Kaharu Udatane smiled, a wise gleam in his eyes. Kakuzu, are you okay? No problem, I'm ready for reinforcements at any time. Very good, immediately return the information to the front of the country of water, we will send experts to reinforce them, and hope they can withstand the pressure, then Kakuzu, wait for a week, and set off in a week. Excuse you. The news of Uchiha Ida's death was quickly passed from Konoha to several other fronts. After seeing the information, Danzo smiled proudly, Sarutobi cursed Danzo in his heart, and Yizan showed an indifferent attitude. At this moment, Yizan is taking the Konoha Legion to attack the Land of Wind, from being invaded to becoming a powerful invader. Call out. Shish. On the battlefield, Yizan's figure kept flashing, and every time he flashed, he would take away the life of a ninja. Damn, what did Shimura use? This is not the futon wind style mode at all. Can't even see the trajectory, what is it? The fourth generation of Kazekage cursed, as if hearing him scolding him, Yizan suddenly turned his head and stared at the fourth generation of Kazekage. Oops. A strong crisis came, the 4 generations of Kazekage didn't even think about it. They tried their best to mobilize all the chakras. In an instant, all the gold dust gathered in the sky and wrapped him into a ball. Absolute defense. Shield of gold dust. Boom. There was a deep depression in the solid sand ball, Yizan's right hand was on the gold dust, and Rasengan was spinning frantically. Cut. Absolute defense. Seeing that several spikes pierced from the smooth sand ball, Yizan pulled away and disappeared again. Swish. Shish. Yizan kept using the Hiraishin technique to teleport on the battlefield. He teleported to the enemy's blind spot every time, and hit the back of the enemy's head with Rasengan while the enemy was fighting Konoha ninjas. Back of the head is the most vulnerable. When hit by Rasengan, it explodes into a brain flower in an instant. Hiraishin's technique is too buggy. In order to quickly consume the comprehensive strength of the sand ninja, he avoids Kazekage, avoids Chio, avoids Ebizo, and specializes in picking elite Jonin. Get started. 1 life per second, 1 second, an elite Jonin was blown to the head by Yizan. So far, Yizan hasn't even turned on Sage mode, he just keeps using Hiraishin technique with his infinite chakra, like a harvester, constantly reaping the life of the sand ninja. Oh, of course, before the battle, he had already used the dual ability of the face fruit. Every time he killed a person, he would explode a purple or orange skill book. Blue is the minority. Any ninjutsu in this world can see the trajectory. Back then, Shimura-zan's futon wind style mode was so fast that he could still clearly see the trajectory. The only thing that couldn't see the trajectory was space ninjutsu. This is Hiraishin from the 2nd generation of Hokage. The technique. Shimura General has inherited the unique skills of the 2nd generation Hokage. Chio quickly pushed back Tsunade, and she came to Kazekage Sidai with a heavy face, her eyes full of worry. Sidai, we can't continue like this. Shimura-zan has space ninjutsu, if we keep fighting like this, we will lose. I know what you said, but what can I do now? There are 2 ways. First, we retreat. Second, we fight with human life. Space ninjutsu is an S-level forbidden technique that tears apart space. Every time it is performed, it will consume a lot of chakra. Shimura-zan is only a quasi-cage level. When he runs out of chakra, we can fight back. Are you willing to bet? Bet.